Chapter 852. The ninth level of the Sea of Mist was a world enshrouded by purple mist. The purple mist here was dreamy and illusionary. It gave Ning Fan an extremely familiar feeling. He had seen this kind of purple mist on the 10 Steps Bridge, when he was at the mortal severing spirit severing realm. The purple mist here not only had the ability to suppress a cultivator's cultivation base and spirit sense, but also an irresistible illusory power. The moment Ning Fan stepped into this place, it immediately entered his body. In just a few seconds, layers of illusions appeared in Ning Fan's eyes. His expression changed. These illusions seemed to be real at the same time. Even with his eyesight, he could not see through them. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan immediately activated the Fuli demon blood in his body. The aura force of his ancestral blood spread to 3 zhang around his body. In his left eye, the Fuli demon star flickered faintly. Even his body began to emit a purplish-black demonic light. Ning Fan's chi immediately became demonic and evil, making it hard for others to grasp it. As the aura force of the Fuli ancestral blood shook, the illusions in front of him immediately showed signs of collapsing. The Fuli clan was known for their illusory techniques. The ancestral blood of the Fuli clan had a shocking restraining effect against illusory techniques. After the illusions were broken, the purple mist in this place immediately began to roll. As it churned, it formed several gigantic purple palms that slammed towards Ning Fan. The momentum of the gigantic palm was slow, but it was moving at a steady pace. There was an invisible force that pressured Ning Fan so much that he found it hard to breathe. Only a true immortal emperor could resist the aura force of this level. Even an immortal king would not be able to do so. Once an immortal king is hit by the gigantic palms, they would be repelled out of this purple mist world. Ning Fan was no exception. He could not face them head-on. He could only dodge them. Ning Fan's eyes turned serious. He waved his hand to summon Ghost Face. His eyes flashed with green light, and he immediately dashed towards the countless gigantic purple palms. Every step he took was stepping on the veins of the grand aura of this place. Although he was walking towards the gigantic palms, due to his strange footwork, the gigantic palms would automatically deviate from his path when they were about to land on his body. Brushing past him at this moment, Ning Fan was walking on the grand aura of heaven and earth, avoiding the gigantic purple palms head-on. Ning Fan did not know how long he had been walking in the purple mist. Gradually, the grand aura of heaven and earth around him disappeared. The further they went, the thicker the purple mist became. 1 hour later, Ning Fan arrived at the end of the purple mist world with great momentum. There were rings of faint golden light spreading out in all directions like ripples of water, dispersing the purple mist. It was a golden island floating in the sky that was emitting a faint golden light. The demonic chi on the island was extremely heavy. The chi of this demonic chi gave Ning Fan a very familiar feeling. It was the same chi as the Eastern Ocean Bell. It should belong to the Eastern Demon ancestor. The golden light outside the island formed layers of demon array formations. Without the cultivation of an immortal emperor, it would be very difficult to barge into the array formations and enter the world on the island. This demon island was where the demon ancestor's cave abode was located. With his current cultivation base, it was impossible for him to break this golden formation. If they were to barge into the formation on the island, they would be directly turned into ashes by the formation. The 9th level of the Sea of Fog is indeed not a place that ordinary cultivators can enter. Ning Fan remained silent for a while. Then he suddenly bent his palm and summoned the Eastern Ocean Bell from the profound Een world. Then he struck out a hand seal at the bell. Immediately, the Eastern Ocean Bell trembled slightly and let out an ancient and deep bell ring. Rings of faint golden light spread out in all directions. This was Ning Fan's attempt to see if he could use the Eastern Ocean Bell to break the grand formation of the island. The result of his attempt satisfied Ning Fan. As the Eastern Ocean Bell rang, a golden passageway immediately appeared above the grand formation of the island. This grand formation seemed to be welcoming Ning Fan's return. Because Ning Fan had the Eastern Ocean Bell, it made the grand formation treat Ning Fan as the previous owner of this island, the Eastern Demon ancestor. After pondering for a while, Ning Fan finally took a step forward and entered the golden passageway. When he felt that everything was normal, He continued to move forward. He passed through the passageway and went straight to the Demon Island. The Demon Island was barren. The mountain range on the island was winding. Looking at it from afar, the mountain looked like a giant golden crow that was slumbering here. In the depths of the mountain range, there was an ancient cave abode. It was the place where the Eastern demon ancestor used to go into seclusion. It was a cave abode that had been empty for many years. The items inside the cave abode had long been taken away by the godly void pavilion, leaving only an empty house. As soon as he stepped on the path, the Eastern Ocean Bell immediately trembled slightly, as if it was very happy. Almost without Ning Fan's control, the Eastern Ocean Bell turned into a ray of golden light and flew towards the direction of the cave abode. When it arrived at the cave abode, it was empty and dusty. There was no trace of its owner. The Eastern Ocean Bell trembled on its own, emitting waves of mournful bell chimes. Treasures were yearning for their owner. Unfortunately, their owner was long gone. Ning Fan followed closely behind the Eastern Ocean Bell and arrived at the empty cave abode. When he felt a trace of sorrow from the Eastern Ocean Bell, his heart was slightly touched. The Eastern demon ancestor had fallen countless years ago. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Under the heavens, perhaps only a magical treasure like the Eastern Ocean Bell still missed the Eastern demon ancestor. Be quiet. You still have me, your owner. Ning Fan approached the Eastern Ocean Bell, reached out his hand and gently stroked the cold body of the bell, as if he was coaxing a child. It was unknown if Ning Fan's words had an effect. The Eastern Ocean Bell gradually stopped emitting the sorrowful feeling and began to calm down. Ning Fan let out a faint sigh and kept the Eastern Ocean Bell back into the profound Yin world. Then he wandered around the cave abode alone. The only thing that attracted Ning Fan's attention in this empty cave abode was the ancient tablet inscriptions on the stone walls. Most of the inscriptions were murals. A small portion of them were ancient characters of the demon race that Ning Fan could not understand. Those characters seemed to be describing the contents of the murals. There were a total of hundreds of murals. The first one was a huge egg. Around the egg were clouds that were formed by the interweaving of clear and turbid qi. Even though Ning Fan could not understand the characters of the ancient demons, he could tell that the egg in the murals was a huge demon cocoon. On the surface of the demon cocoon, there were 3 circles. The outer circle surrounded the inner circle. Ning Fan walked forward and looked at the second mural. In the second mural, the demon cocoon had been broken and a golden crow flew out from it. In the third mural, the golden crow had turned into a human form. It was a wild young man with a blurred face. Although Ning Fan could not see the young man's face clearly, he could feel a violent and domineering aura from him. In the fourth mural, there was only a back view of the young man. Ning Fan had seen that back view before. In the 9 divisions of the Lu clan, he had once comprehended the prestige word art of ancestor Emperor Dong Ming. At that time, he had seen the back view of ancestor Emperor Dong Ming. Could it be that these murals depict the life of ancestor Dong Ming? Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. In the 5th mural, the young man was cultivating some kind of ability. There was a giant bell hovering above his head and 3 halos were in his palms. Those 3 halos were obviously spirit wheels. When Ning Fan saw the 5th mural, his fully spirit wheel that had yet to materialize suddenly flew out of his body and emitted a strange purplish-black light. At this moment, the spirit wheels in the mural and the spirit wheels that Ning Fan had cultivated seemed to resonate with each other. At this moment, the stone door of the cave abode suddenly fell down with a loud bang and closed completely. The golden light of the formation on the demon island immediately converged towards the cave abode. Ning Fan's expression changed. How could he not know that his spirit wheels had triggered some kind of change? He did not know whether this change was good or bad. It might have triggered some kind of opportunity, or it might be a sign of impending danger. According to Ning Fan's character, as long as there is a possibility of danger, he would certainly not stay in the cave abode and wait for death. Just as he was about to destroy the stone door of the cave abode and leave, the Eastern Ocean Bell in the profound Yin world gently trembled at this moment, as if it was comforting Ning Fan, telling him not to worry too much about this change. Ning Fan's raised hand finally lowered it. Green light flashed in his eyes. He saw that the great force of this place was triggered by the change in the cave abode. but it did not have any hostility towards him. Will this be an opportunity? Ning Fan turned his head and looked at the fifth mural. His eyes narrowed and he finally made up his mind. He did not leave. A few breaths later, countless rays of golden light surged into the cave abode. The ancient characters on the wall of the cave abode, that were difficult to distinguish, immediately flew out from the stone wall and turned into rays of golden light, entering Ning Fan's head. Countless information immediately appeared in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. No divine void great emperor had ever seen through the secret of the ancient characters of the cave abode. Today, when Ning Fan summoned his spirit wheel in this cave abode, he had unknowingly triggered a great inheritance that the Eastern demon ancestor had left for his descendants. Junior demon, since you have the spirit wheel, you are qualified to receive my inheritance. This is the secret character of force. It was as if there were countless bells ringing in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. When the ringing of the bells faded away, an ancient voice was left behind. It was as if there was an invisible force that immediately strengthened Ning Fan's body. Ning Fan's expression changed. He immediately sat cross-legged in front of the fifth mural, closed his eyes and entered a state of cultivation. At this moment, Ning Fan finally understood that the characters on the wall of the cave abode were actually one of the two great absolute arts of the Eastern demon ancestor. The secret character of force. The Eastern demon ancestor was born in the Golden Crow race. He had created two great absolute arts. The secret character of prestige and force. He wasn't a stingy person. He had passed the secret character of prestige and force to his descendants through various means. As long as it was fated, anyone would have the chance to comprehend these two great absolute arts. The secret character of prestige was different from the secret character of prestige. It recorded the secret character of prestige and force to his descendants through various means. As long as it was fated, anyone would have the chance to comprehend these two great absolute arts. The secret character of prestige was different from the secret character of prestige. It described the secret of absorbing the great force of heaven and earth for one's own use. If one could comprehend it, he would be able to strengthen his control over the great force of heaven and earth. All the formations in this world were inseparable from the use of force. Without force, there wouldn't be a formation. If force was integrated into one's divine ability, it could also increase the power of the divine ability. If Ning Fan could comprehend the secret character of force, the benefits he would obtain would naturally be great. Unfortunately, the characters on the wall only contain the secret character of force, without the secret character of heart. In order to obtain the secret character of force and completely comprehend the secret character of force, he must pass a test. Junior, answer me. What is force in your eyes? A disdainful voice resounded in Ning Fan's mind for a long time. In the world of his mind, Ning Fan was standing on the sea of clouds, looking at a huge shadow of a golden crow in his mind. The golden crow was too huge. When it spread its wings, it could cover the entire sky of Ning Fan's mind. The golden crow's demonic eyes stared at Ning Fan, waiting for his answer. The chi of the golden crow gave Ning Fan an invisible sense of oppression. The oppression was not much weaker than the one ancient chaos gave Ning Fan. The golden crow was a shadow of the Eastern demon ancestor in Ning Fan's mind. If Ning Fan's answer could satisfy the golden crow would bestow Ning Fan the complete inheritance of force. Ning Fan realized that he had to answer the question of the golden crow seriously. Otherwise, he might miss a great opportunity. He pondered for a long time, recalling the path of cultivation that he had gone through along the way. He didn't answer the golden crow's question directly. Instead, he raised his finger and pointed at the Lian mountain in his mind. In the eyes of the people, this mountain is force. There can't be a mountain without force. To the mountain, it is force that is unshakable. The golden crow didn't comment on Ning Fan's answer. Ning Fan didn't mind it either. He raised his finger again and pointed at the sea of clouds beside him. In the eyes of the people, this cloud is force. When the clouds move, there will be a great change. The golden crow still didn't show any expression. Obviously, it wasn't satisfied with such an answer. Ning Fan pointed at the ground and then at the sky. In the eyes of the people, The sky has a high and mighty force. This land has the force that will always be below it. The golden crow snorted and said impatiently, Junior, I'm asking about the force in your eyes, not the force in the eyes of the people. Senior, don't be impatient. Let Junior finish speaking. Ningfan's eyes suddenly changed. Green light flashed continuously. He looked at the Lian mountain below him. Gradually, his eyes were filled with a domineering and disdainful expression. High mountains and low mountains all have their own force. But if there is no mountain in my eyes, then the mountain will have no force to speak of. Then Ningfan raised his finger and pointed at the flowing clouds and said, If there are no clouds in my eyes, no matter how erratic the clouds are, they will never be able to cover my eyes. Ningfan pointed at the earth, then pointed at the sky and suddenly smiled. The heaven seals the top and the earth seals the bottom. The cultivators who are in between the heaven and earth can naturally feel the momentum of the heaven and earth. But if my heart is higher than the heaven and thicker than the earth, then the momentum of the heaven and earth will immediately disperse in front of me. In Junior's eyes, everything has momentum, but none of them can be relied on. This is Junior's answer. Along the way, Ningfan's thoughts about the general trend of heaven and earth were no longer the same as before. When the rain doesn't come, there will be momentum. When the mountain doesn't move, there will be momentum. When the dragon hides in the abyss, there will be momentum. When the green insect spins its cocoon, there will be momentum. When the human king doesn't kill, there will be momentum. When the world doesn't fight, there will be momentum. In the past, Ningfan's understanding of momentum was the tendency of the evolution of all living things. Currently, Ningfan's understanding of power was to explore the essence of power. The reason why the momentum of the heaven and earth could suppress the cultivators was because the heaven and earth was higher than the cultivators and had momentum to rely on. The reason why mortals could feel the height of the mountain and the vastness of the sea was because they were lower than the mountain and insignificant compared to the sea. If the man was taller than the mountain, then the momentum of the mountain would collapse. If the heart was wider than the sea, then the momentum of the sea would no longer exist. Everything has no momentum to rely on. What do you think of this old man's momentum? A golden light flashed in the golden crow's eyes. A momentum that felt like the sky could destroy everything immediately fell on Ningfan's body. When this momentum swept across, it immediately made Ningfan's mind and world feel like it was about to collapse. Ningfan's mind was on the verge of collapse, but his expression was still calm. He was weaker than the golden crow, so naturally, he couldn't escape the suppression of the golden crow's momentum. On the other hand, if his cultivation base was higher than the golden crow one day, then this momentum wouldn't be worth mentioning at all. He didn't say a word, but conveyed his thoughts to the golden crow with the same unchanging expression. The golden crow finally revealed a satisfied look. If Ningfan had the slightest bit of fear towards its momentum, it wouldn't have imparted the secret of the word momentum to Ningfan. You are qualified to receive this old man's inheritance. Receive the secret. The shadow of the golden crow suddenly shattered into countless golden lights. These golden lights all merged into Ningfan's mind. Immediately, some ancient and profound heart mantras gradually appeared in Ningfan's sea of consciousness. Ningfan sat in the demon ancestor's cave for 7 days. On the 8th day, Ningfan opened his eyes. His gaze seemed to have become more profound and immeasurable. The yin-yang demon eyes that he had cultivated in the past was revealed at this moment. The yin-yang demon eyes was the acquired Dharma eye that Ningfan cultivated after devouring the desire-resolving pearl. With this acquired Dharma eye, Ningfan could display a type of chaotic world purple mist divine ability, subduing female cultivators with purple mist. For 7 days, Ningfan was comprehending the secret of the word momentum. After comprehending the secret of the word momentum, his acquired Dharma eye began to evolve towards the innate realm. It didn't evolve into the innate realm immediately, but there was already a trend of evolution. Moreover, after comprehending the secret of the word momentum, his yin-yang demon eyes gained another ability, the ability to see the invisible grand momentum. Ningfan stood up and walked towards the stone door of the cave. Due to the formation, the stone door automatically closed. In the past, Ningfan had to break the stone door in order to walk out of the cave. However, at this moment, Ning Fan's demon eyes swept across the stone door, and immediately saw through the veins of the formation. He raised his palm and moved at lightning speed, changing the formation on the stone door. It was obviously an extremely profound formation, but in front of Ning Fan, it was like a naked woman. Everything was exposed without any concealment. With Ning Fan's previous cultivation base in the Tao of formations, it was impossible for him to change such a profound formation. However, this time, Ning Fan borrowed the power of the acquired Dharma Eye to see through the grand momentum of the formation and changed it. The stone door opened with a rumbling sound. Ning Fan's eyes became a little more solemn. When he looked at the grand formation of the demon island outside the cave, everything was also clear. However, his cultivation base was still low. He could still change the formation of the stone door, but he couldn't directly change the grand formation of the demon island for the time being. After comprehending the secret of the word momentum, the grand formation of heaven and earth is almost exposed to my eyes. Ning Fan returned to the cave and walked to the front of the fifth mural. Looking at the countless formation veins on the fifth mural, he smiled faintly. There were a total of 100 murals in this cave. However, only the fifth mural had a special formation. The inheritance that the Eastern demon ancestor left in the cave was not only the secret of the word momentum. There was a second inheritance hidden in the fifth mural. If one couldn't truly comprehend the secret of the word momentum in the first inheritance, he wouldn't be able to activate the second inheritance. The first inheritance was the inheritance of the word momentum, while the second inheritance was hidden under the formation. It was the inheritance of the spirit wheel. Ning Fan moved at lightning speed, changing the formation on the fifth mural. Gradually, the fifth mural changed. In the mural, the 3 spirit wheel halos on the palm of the young man suddenly shone with golden light. Immediately, Ning Fan's sea of consciousness trembled, and his consciousness was pulled into the mural. In the vast starry sky of the world in the mural, a domineering young man with golden hair and golden robes was sitting cross-legged in the starry sky. He was the shadow in the painting of the Eastern demon ancestor. As the starry sky trembled, another Ning Fan appeared in the world in the mural. Oh, you've obtained the inheritance of the secret of the word momentum? The Eastern demon ancestor's eyes moved slightly and looked at Ning Fan. Just a glance from him seemed to be able to annihilate the entire starry sky. Junior Ning Fan greets the Eastern demon ancestor. Ning Fan cupped his fists and bowed to the Eastern demon ancestor. Since you can come to this world in the painting, you're qualified to obtain another inheritance of mine. Is your spirit wheel the Li wheel of the Fu Li clan? It seems like it hasn't completely condensed yet. The Eastern demon ancestor pointed at Ning Fan from afar. Immediately, a ray of purplish-black light flew out from Ning Fan's body and turned into the shadow of the Fu Li spirit wheel. Next, I'll teach you the 5 spirit wheel technique. This technique was originally passed down by the immortal sovereign to all ancient demons. Unfortunately, I'm afraid there aren't many people in this world who can understand this technique. After obtaining this technique, if you have enough aptitude, you can cultivate the first spirit wheel and the demon's spiritual power. As for the second spirit wheel, you can also cultivate it if you're fated enough. The third spirit wheel is the dividing line between true and void in this world. Whether you can cultivate it or not will depend on your luck. The fourth spirit wheel is the limit of samsara. You might not be able to cultivate it. As for the fifth spirit wheel, it's a realm that even immortal sovereigns can't cultivate. Even in the outer world, there isn't any immortal sovereign who can cultivate it. That's the end of the dream. Ask the world, who can go against the mortal world and wake up from the dream? You can't and I can't. All living beings are in a dream. I'll give you this technique. The Eastern demon ancestor suddenly raised his head and let out a sigh. As he waved his hand, rays of golden light shot into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. The moment the information entered Ning Fan's sea of consciousness, he felt a sharp pain in his heart. He exited the world in the mural and returned to his cave dwelling. The light of the spirit wheel circled around his body. The spirit wheel was originally illusory, but at this moment, it actually showed signs of solidifying. Ning Fan's mind returned to normal. Without saying a word, he immediately sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes, entering a state of cultivation. At this moment, his illusory spirit will had a chance to solidify. He must seize this opportunity. He was like an old monk who entered a meditative state. Under the control of his spirit sense, the illusory spirit will flew out of the cave dwelling, out of the demon cave, and into the world of purple mist. The 5 spirit wheel technique was a secret technique to cultivate one spirit wheel. It was the highest secret technique of the ancient demon clan. In ancient times, there were countless ancient demons who practiced this technique. In the later generations, however, this technique had been lost. Today this technique had fallen into Ningfan's hands. With this technique, it wouldn't be difficult for Ningfan to solidify his spirit wheel and cultivate it to the first spirit wheel realm. However, in order to solidify his spirit wheel, he would need a vast amount of energy that corresponded to the spirit wheel. The power of the Fuli spirit wheel was illusion. This illusion could create samsara and destroy the vault of heaven. In the 9th level of the Sea of Mist, there was a large amount of purple mist which contained the power of illusion techniques. As long as he devoured enough purple mist, it wouldn't be difficult for him to solidify his spirit wheel. First spirit wheel of the 5 spirit wheel, solidify for me. Ningfan's eyes turned sharp. At this moment, the ancestral blood pressure of the Fuli bloodline crazily spread to every corner of the 9th level. Chapter 853. Ningfan sat cross-legged inside the demon ancestor's dwelling. He was controlling the Fuli spiritual wheel to devour large amounts of purple mist outside the island. Starting from the 6th mural, it described the secrets of the ancient demon clan. Rays of golden light continuously flew out from the 100 murals and entered Ningfan's sea of consciousness, causing some secrets to gradually appear in his mind. He understood that in ancient times, every ancient demon would cultivate the 5 spirit wheel technique in order to cultivate demon spirit energy. He understood that the ancient gods cultivated magic power, the ancient demons cultivated essence energy, and the ancient demons cultivated spiritual power. Spiritual force was the foundation of ancient demons. He had learned that immortal Emperor Zido's original form was a demon. The Zido immortal domain was a world where demons were revered. Gods were after demons and devils were below gods. The 5 spiritual wheels art divided the cultivation of the spiritual wheels into 5 stages. In total, one had to cultivate 5 natal spiritual wheels. Every time the ancient demon completed a stage, the number of natal spirit wheels would increase by 1. If he didn't have this technique, he would probably need to use his spirit wheel to devour countless unyielding demon souls to solidify his spirit wheel. With this technique, Ningfan was confident that he would be able to form his first spiritual wheel in the 9th level of the Misty Sea. In the world of purple mist, the Fuli spiritual wheel was under Ningfan's control. It turned into a 100 zhang large purplish-black whirlpool, which crazily devoured the surrounding purple mist. The purple mist in the 9th level was originally extremely dense. However, as Ningfan crazily devoured the purple mist, the purple color of the mist became lighter and lighter. The illusionary power in the purple mist was devoured by the spirit wheel. During the refinement process, a purplish-black spirit force was formed and separated from the spirit wheel, swimming toward the cave abode of the demon ancestor. Countless threads of spirit power flowed into Ningfan's body, causing a dark purple flame to burn on the surface of his body. The purplish-black flame separated into countless fiery threads which gradually formed a gigantic demon cocoon, trapping Ningfan within it. Inside the cocoon, the ancient phase aura grew stronger day by day. On the first day, Ningfan's spiritual power was only equivalent to a 9th level vein opening cultivator. On the second day, Ningfan's cultivation had reached the peak of harmonious spirit realm. On the third day, Ningfan's cultivation base had reached late gold core realm. On the fourth day, his spiritual power broke through to the mid-nascent soul realm. Time passed day by day. The speed at which Ningfan's ancient demon cultivation base increased began to slow down. The purple mist in the outside world also became thinner and thinner. As his spiritual wheels gradually solidified, Ningfan could faintly feel that the innate ability of Fuli in his body was beginning to truly awaken. On the 49th day, there was no longer a trace of purple in the mist of the 9th layer. At this moment, the demon cocoon suddenly cracked open. A purple-black shadow flew out from the cocoon and turned into a ray of purple light. It flew out of the cave and spread its wings above the demon island. It was a purplish-black winged demon with an evil and ferocious aura. Its body was flowing with the aura force of a peak void fragmentation realm expert. The winged demon's body grew with the wind, instantly growing to a length of 500,000 feet. When it spread its wings, it could blot out the sky. This winged demon was none other than Ningfan's Fuli demon image. However, at this moment, this demon image was showing signs of evolving. The Fuli race was a race that refused to surrender even in the face of death. The monsters in the race were all winged monsters, but their appearances were ever-changing. After continuously devouring the purple mist for 49 days, his Fuli spiritual wheel had already reached the edge of being completely solidified. His cultivation base was only one step away from breaking through the second step and entering the human profound realm. Finally, his Fuli demon image began to change. The feathers on the wings gradually disappeared and turned into purplish-black powder. The sharp beak also gradually disappeared in the purple light. The purple light became brighter and brighter. The gigantic winged demon gradually turned into a giant butterfly with black wings and purple eyes. At the moment when the black butterfly demon image was completely solidified, shadows of black butterflies suddenly flew out from Ningfan's spiritual wheels. A strong aura force immediately spread out from the spiritual wheels. At the same time, the aura force of the giant butterfly also broke through to the early human profound realm. Is this my Fuli demon image? Zili is the peacock demon image and I am the butterfly. The giant butterfly muttered something to itself. The wings of the butterfly retracted. Amidst the purplish-black demonic light, the giant butterfly turned back into Ningfan's figure. At this moment, his appearance did not change at all. The only difference was that there was a pair of black butterfly wings on his back. The 8 wings of the previous devil image had fused into the butterfly wings. The butterfly wings flapped and Ningfan immediately turned into a ray of purplish-black light, speeding away. The butterfly wings could increase Ningfan's speed on the basis of his original speed. The first natal spiritual wheel was completely formed. His ancient demon cultivation base had also broken through to the early human profound realm after devouring the purple mist crazily. With the help of the butterfly wings, Ningfan did not consume any magical power, and his speed was comparable to a late true crossing realm expert. And this was the speed of Ningfan when the yin and yang power of the rain was still unsealed. As the yin and yang power of the rain was unsealed, Ningfan's speed skyrocketed again. In this state, his speed was almost comparable to skyrending. With a thought, the divine, demon and devil bloodlines in Ningfan's body began to burn. With a wave of his hand, he summoned the ghost face. Immediately, golden flames appeared on the surface of Ningfan's body. His body turned into a golden rainbow and disappeared in a flash. This golden rainbow escape technique was the piercing golden light. The speed of the piercing golden light was already comparable to the ancient demon. As Ningfan summoned the butterfly wings, the speed of the golden light increased by more than a few times. The innate abilities of the Fuli clan were speed and illusion techniques. The transformation of his demon form allowed him to cultivate butterfly wings, which could greatly increase his speed. After cultivating the first wheel of the 5 spirits, my cultivation base has broken through to the early human profound realm and changed my demon appearance. The first innate ability of the Fuli clan that I awakened is to summon the butterfly wings to fly. With a thought, the butterfly wings were immediately kept back into Ningfan's body. Ningfan waved his palm at the purplish-black whirlpool in the distance. The light of the whirlpool immediately dispersed and turned into a palm-sized purplish-black halo, flying back to Ningfan's palm. Ningfan stretched out his palm, and the purplish-black spirit wheel rotated on his palm. The second innate ability that he awakened was illusion technique. After keeping the spirit wheel back into his body, Ningfan formed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. Immediately, countless purple mist was produced between heaven and earth. The ability of this purple mist was similar to the purple mist in the 9th level of the Misty Sea, just that its power was slightly weaker. With Ningfan's current cultivation base, the purple mist was enough to trap early and intermediate true crossing realm cultivators, who fell into the purple mist into an illusion technique attack. Releasing the illusion purple mist was only a part of the ability of Ningfan's second innate ability. Ningfan changed his hand seal. Under his control, the purple mist that was released from the illusion technique flew towards him. The reason why he did that was to test the other ability of his second innate ability. As soon as Ningfan fell into the purple mist, countless illusions immediately appeared in his eyes. He did not deliberately see through these illusions. He just stood in the illusions and uttered the word reverse. In an instant, all the illusions that attacked Ningfan were reflected back. The second innate ability of the Fuli clan could not only release and see through illusions, but also reflect them. Reflecting illusion technique. Not a bad innate ability. Ningfan nodded his head in satisfaction. There were not many cultivators in the four heavens who knew illusion techniques. At most, they could integrate illusion techniques into magical treasures and formations. However, among the demon race in the upper world, illusion techniques were an extremely common means of attack. After mastering the ability to reflect illusion techniques, Ningfan would certainly have the upper hand if he were to encounter demons who were proficient in illusion techniques in the future. The awakening of the two innate abilities was considered as an unexpected surprise to Ningfan. Of course, what he was most satisfied with was the solidification of the Fuli spirit wheel. The existence of the spirit wheel could generate spiritual power. The existence of spiritual power could strengthen the senses of an ancient demon cultivator's spirit sense. It didn't increase the realm of the spirit sense. Instead, it increased the range, distance, and precision of the senses by several times. After forming the first natal spirit wheel, the realm of Ningfan's spirit sense did not improve. However, his control over his spirit sense had greatly improved. By meticulously controlling the power of his spirit sense, the current Ningfan could spread his spirit sense 3 times further than before. His 5 senses were more than a few times sharper than before. Even the power of the medicine soul in his body was more sensitive than before. If I concoct pills with such a state, the quality of the pills I concoct would be much higher. Ancient God Heart Orifice, Ancient Devil Talisman, Ancient Demon Spirit Wheel. Only now can I be considered to have truly stepped into the realm of cultivating the 3 clans at the same time. The Fuli spirit will can cultivate by devouring the illusory power. The illusory power of the 9th level of the purple mist is extremely strong. That's why I was able to form the first natal spirit wheel in one go. In order to form the second natal spirit wheel, the illusory power required is too huge. It's at least 1,000 times more than the first spiritual wheel. And the time needed to form the second natal spirit wheel will certainly be very long. To form the first spiritual wheel, my demon spiritual power needs to reach the early human profound realm. To form the second spiritual wheel, my demon spiritual power needs to reach the peak of shedding void realm. To form the third spiritual wheel, my demon spiritual power needs to reach the quasi-saint realm. The Eastern Demon Ancestor has only formed 3 natal spirit wheels. He hasn't formed the 4th, so he doesn't know what conditions are needed to form the 4th and 5th spiritual wheel. Ningfan kept the spiritual wheels and returned to the cave dwelling of the Eastern Demon Ancestor. His eyes swept across the murals on the walls and sighed. From the cave dwelling left by the Eastern Demon Ancestor, Ningfan had obtained 2 great inheritances, the secret word power and the 5 spiritual wheel. His heart was filled with gratitude towards the Eastern Demon Ancestor. The Eastern Ocean Bell, the Heaven Sealing Technique, the secret word power, the 5 spiritual wheel. Along the way, Ningfan had obtained too many opportunities from the Eastern Demon Ancestor. The Eastern Demon Ancestor had already passed away. The only thing Ningfan could do to repay the Eastern Demon Ancestor was to light a few joss sticks outside the cave dwelling and bow respectfully towards it. The purple mist of the 9th level had been devoured by Ningfan, turning into a faint white mist. As time passed, the white mist would slowly turn into purple mist, but no one knew when it would be fully formed. No one knew that Ningfan had obtained the inheritance of the Ancestral Emperor in the 9th level of the Sea of Mist. Only the Godly Void Pavilion knew that Ningfan had devoured the purple mist of this level. Ningfan left and returned to the 2nd level of the Sea of Mist. Along the way, those old monsters who cultivated in the 5th level and below showed a look of eagerness to strike up a conversation when they saw Ning Fan walking out. Ning Fan could only respond to their enthusiasm with a bitter smile. The 3 immortal venerables in the 8th level treated him as an immortal emperor. The 5 thought-breaking demons in the 7th level treated him as an immortal venerable, and the old monsters in the 6th and 5th level also treated him as a thought-breaking demon. Unfortunately, Ning Fan wasn't a thought-breaking demon, an ancient immortal venerable, or an immortal emperor. When he announced his true cultivation base, all the old monsters were dumbfounded. This young man is actually just at the peak ghost profound realm. How is this possible? Countless old monsters cried out involuntarily. In the 2nd level of the Sea of Mist, Sun Xiai and the other 3 elders were guarding the 8 treasure vaults of Eastern Ming Island. As soon as they saw Ning Fan, the 4 of them immediately went out to welcome him respectfully and thanked him. Thank you, Immortal Monarch, for helping us move Eastern Ming Island back to where it used to be. We can't thank you enough. It's just a small matter. I'm going to enter the treasure vaults to retrieve some items. I hope that the elders can make things convenient for me. Sure. Immortal Monarch has given an order to Old Ancestor. Even if you want to empty these 8 treasure vaults, we certainly won't dare to stop you. Of course, with Immortal Monarch's reputation, you probably won't do such a thing, right? Sun Xiai and the others laughed while looking at Ning Fan carefully. It had been nearly 2 months since Ning Fan entered the lower level of the Sea of Mist. More than that, Ning Fan's body seemed to have undergone a tremendous change. As for what exactly the change was, Sun Xiai and the others could not see through it. Ning Fan had already refined the innate ghost face. Now he had even awakened the innate illusory technique of the Fuli clan. There was an illusory spiritual power in his body, which could isolate the senses of others. In addition to the ability of the innate ghost face, even the Divine Void Emperor and the Divine Void Emperor would not be able to see through him, let alone Sun Xiai and the others. Ning Fan bid farewell to Sun Xiai and the others. He held the token and entered the 8 treasure vaults alone. There were a total of 8 treasure vaults on Eastern Ming Island. The first 5 treasure vaults stored a large amount of first-step cultivation resources. To Ning Fan, they were not very useful. However, he still went to the first 5 treasure vaults and retrieved some useful items for the female cultivators in the Profound Een world to cultivate. The female cultivators in the Profound Een world were the same as the women in the Rain world. They never lacked cultivation resources. Due to their limited innate talent, there were naturally a small number of women who could not cultivate to the Divine Transformation realm, Void Refinement realm, or Void Fragmentation realm in their lifetime. However, it was still a piece of cake for them to cultivate to the nascent soul realm, and have a lifespan of thousands of years. After all, there were countless cultivation resources piled up behind them. In the 6th treasure vault, there were all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures required by life immortal realm cultivators. The 7th treasury contained the items that Dujin needed. The 8th treasury contained the items that Shikong needed. The old monsters above Shikong usually had their own clans. The items they needed for cultivation were either bestowed by the 2 emperors, or provided by their clans. They rarely took anything from the main pavilion of the merchant pavilion. Some precious items would not be placed in the main pavilion. They would be personally managed by the 2 emperors of each generation to prevent the godly Void Pavilion from stealing what's in their hands. In these treasure vaults, the most precious items that Ning Fan found were just the Void Shedding Dao fruit, a 9 revolution silver grade pill, and a mid-grade Dao marrow. In terms of quality, it might not be as good as the Luo clan's treasury. After all, the higher grade items were in the hands of the 2 thearchs. In terms of quantity, the Luo family would never be able to compete with them. Ning Fan stayed in the last 3 treasure vaults for 2 hours. No one knew how many items he had taken from the treasure vaults. After Ning Fan left, Sun Xiai and the other 3 elders of the trading pavilion entered the treasure vault to check the items. Immediately, they were dumbfounded. A total of 368 bottles of 9 revolutions lead pills and silver pills were missing. There were 7,156 bottles of pills below the 8th revolution. He had lost 790 life immortal Dao fruits. 58 truth purification Dao fruits were missing. He had lost 12 void shedding Dao fruits. He had lost 237 drops of inferior-grade Dao marrow. He had lost 62 drops of middle-grade Dao marrow. There were 5 trillion less Dao crystals. The rest of the losses were incalculable. Is this the character of the Rain Immortal Monarch? He really dared to take it. Isn't he afraid of offending the 2 emperors by doing this? An elder's face was filled with black lines. Obviously, he had underestimated Ning Fan's moral integrity. Ning Fan was neither a relative nor a friend of the Godly Void Pavilion. His good impression of him was close to zero. If he could take something for free, why wouldn't he take it? So what if I empty the treasury? Given his identity, even the 2 sovereigns wouldn't dare to touch him. Moreover, I heard that old ancestor Xiang seems to admire Rain Immortal Monarch very much. The things that Immortal Monarch took away are useless to the 2 sovereigns. Why would the 2 sovereigns make things difficult for Immortal Monarch for these things? Sun Ci calmed himself down and said disapprovingly. No matter what, they had to report the items missing from the treasury to the pavilion master and the 2 emperors. As for whether the 2 emperors would ignore this matter, it was not their concern. Ning Fan returned to the little demoness bedroom. After a brief moment of intimacy with her, he immediately went into seclusion. Currently, Ning Fan's cultivation base was stuck at the peak of the Ghost Profound Realm. It had reached its limit. Unless he breaks through to the Crossing True Realm, consuming the Dao fruits would just be a waste. Ning Fan gave some of the Dao fruits to the little demoness. While Ning Fan was in seclusion, the little demoness also began to cultivate. When the Divine Void Emperors received the report from Sun Ci and the others, they did not take it to heart. They only ordered them not to spread the news of Ning Fan taking the treasures. Ning Fan found a stone chamber in the palace and went into seclusion for 4 years. During these 4 years, he only did one thing: to refine all the low-grade and mid-grade Dao marrow in his hands. To body cultivators, the Dao marrow was a supreme treasure that could improve their body refining realm. Ning Fan's magic power and cultivation base were stuck at a bottleneck, while his ancient devil cultivation base had already broken through to the heavenly devil realm. After 4 years of arduous cultivation, Ning Fan had refined all the Dao marrow. His ancient devil cultivation base skyrocketed, reaching the peak of the first nirvana of the heavenly devil realm. He only needed an opportunity to break through to the second nirvana of the heavenly devil realm. The little demoness was still in seclusion in the stone chamber. She was refining a large number of Dao fruits that Ning Fan had given her to break through the bottleneck of the mid-human profound realm. Perhaps in a few years or a few decades, she would certainly break through to the mid-human profound realm. Ning Fan stood outside the stone chamber of the little demoness. His eyes were filled with emotions. He was ready to leave the Eastern Sea Star region. However, the little demoness did not want to go with him. She was no longer a sacrificial offering, and there was no longer any danger. She wanted to stay in the Godly Void Pavilion and become the true young lord of the Godly Void Pavilion. She wanted to raise her status step by step and take control of the Godly Void Pavilion to become Ning Fan's assistant. Since the little demoness was unwilling to leave, Ning Fan naturally would not force her. The Godly Void Pavilion had ancient chaos. She was no longer a sacrificial offering. This place was very safe. Inside the stone chamber, the little demoness was not cultivating. She was also looking at Ning Fan through the thick stone door. She knew that Ning Fan had decided to leave. He had too many things to do. The Eastern Sea Star region could not keep him. However, she did not want to stay by Ning Fan's side and be a useless vase. She wanted to stay in the Godly Void Pavilion and use the power of the Godly Void Pavilion to help Ning Fan when he needed it. I'm leaving. You keep this jade pendant. If there's any danger, break this jade pendant. Unless it's a last resort, do not easily break it. Ning Fan's voice suddenly came from outside the stone door. In the next moment, a ray of light flashed and flew into the stone door. It turned into an Emperor Sense jade pendant and fell into the little demoness' hand. This is... The little demoness looked at the Emperor Sense jade pendant in disbelief. The soft spot in her heart was immediately hit. She naturally recognized this jade pendant. It was the Emperor Sense jade pendant. It should be a life-saving item given to Ning Fan by Ancient Chaos Great Emperor, but Ning Fan gave it to her. The little demoness hurriedly pushed open the stone door and wanted to return the jade pendant to Ning Fan. She knew that Ning Fan had become famous in one battle. It seemed glorious, but in reality, his position was even more dangerous. He had already attracted the attention of countless Eastern Sky old monsters. Ning Fan needed this jade to protect himself more than her. Unfortunately, when she walked out of the stone door, Ning Fan had already left. There was no trace of Ning Fan anymore. I still have something to do. I'll come back to see you after I'm done. Take care of yourself. If you've lost a bit of weight when I return, I'll definitely punish you. Ning Fan's voice blended into the misty rain and drifted into the little demoness' ears. There was a hint of teasing in his voice. Naturally, the punishment would be very erotic. The little demoness spat in annoyance. Little Fan Fan was indeed the successor of ancient Chaos' great emperor. Even his words of farewell were so lewd. But why did her heart feel a little empty and uncomfortable? A gentle breeze blew past the little demoness' hair. It was so gentle, but it also felt a little lonely. The little demoness who only knew how to smile all the time also felt a little gloomy. Ning Fan decided to leave Dongming province. His original intention was to find the true Thunder World after the tomb competition to complete the task entrusted to him by Lightning Emperor Taisu. Of course, he still had another mission, which was to reach the fourth transformation of the combat art before the combat king's body decayed. Regarding the cultivation of the war god art, Ning Fan had made a new decision. After obtaining the chaotic rings art, he had a faster cultivation method. Ning Fan did not know the location of the true Thunder World. In order to find it, he must first go to the 3000 Thunder World to find someone, and see if he could find out the location of the true Thunder World from him. There was an ancient teleportation formation built near the 3000 Thunder World. That teleportation formation could lead to the savage battlefield of the Divine Demon World. Ning Fan made up his mind. Before leaving Dongming Star Region, he went to visit Xiangbozi and Luwen. Visiting Xiangbozi was out of etiquette. Visiting Luwen was out of gratitude. During the tomb competition, Luwen had helped Ning Fan greatly. Ning Fan was very grateful towards him, so he naturally paid him a visit. In name, he was still the sworn brother of the Plague King, wasn't he? As soon as he saw Ning Fan, Luwen immediately held a banquet and invited countless beauties to entertain Ning Fan. Luwen still had no idea about Ning Fan's true cultivation base. He still did not know that Ning Fan was not a cultivator of the Southern Clan. What he was shocked about was that Ning Fan was actually the successor of Ancient Chaos. He actually called his master Ancient Chaos over and scared the members of the Dark Clan. He inwardly guessed that Ning Fan's mission in Dongming Star Region was related to Ancient Chaos. Could it be that he had already completed it? Hehe. Brother Ning, if you return to the clan, can you put in a good word for me in front of the old ancestors? Luwen said with a smile. I haven't finished my task yet. Ning Fan smiled bitterly in his heart and gave Luwen an ambiguous answer. There's no hurry. No hurry. Brother Ning, take your time. Even if it takes thousands of years, I can still afford to wait. To us ancient cultivators, what's the difference between thousands of years and the blink of an eye? Why can't I afford to wait? Luwen said with a smile. Luwen had a great time drinking while Ning Fan sighed with emotion. He did not know if Luwen would still be so close to him if he knew the truth. However, now that he was the descendant of ancient chaos, even if LV Feng knew the truth, even if the Southern Tribe knew that he was pretending to be a member of the Southern Tribe, they probably wouldn't do anything to him. After leaving Lu Fan's place, Ning Fan returned to the Heavenly Sea Star. He told the patriarchs of the Luo clan about his departure and promised that he would return after mastering the fourth form of his battle art. Luo Zhao's physical body had already been successfully possessed, and his Yuan spirit was currently being refined. After knowing that Ning Fan was going to leave, Luo Zhao also held a small banquet to entertain him. When Wang Meng heard that Ning Fan was leaving, he insisted on going with Ning Fan to serve him. However, Ning Fan tactfully refused. With Ning Fan's current strength, he didn't need Wang Meng, who was an early crossing truth cultivator, to follow him around. It was better to let him stay in the Luo clan to cultivate. Luo Xian didn't come to see Ning Fan. Her mood was very complicated. Inside the clan tomb, Luo Xian stood in front of a new grave, her beautiful eyes lost. Her brother's body was buried in that grave. In her arms, there was a piece of torn white cloth that she would take out from time to time to take a closer look. That white cloth was like a treasure to her. Now, she was certain that the owner of the white cloth was Ning Fan. He's actually the successor of ancient chaos, an existence that even the dark race doesn't dare to provoke. He actually won the first place in the tomb competition, and became the reign immortal monarch, whose name shook the eastern heaven. He helped me retrieve my brother's body, but I have no way to repay him. Ning Fan bid farewell to the Luo clan and left. Luo Xian suddenly raised her head and looked at Ning Fan's escaping light. She was stunned. Thank you. Her voice was as soft as a whisper. No one knew who she was talking to. In the Chen clan of the Wulan Star. In the elder's courtyard, a beautiful woman in a black dress was sitting cross-legged in her bedroom and cultivating. She was Chen Lingfeng, a female cultivator of the Chen clan who had followed Luo Xiao to the Lingtai Star. Her cultivation base was at the early mortal profound realm. All the experts above the crossing truth realm of the Chen clan were eliminated by LV Feng alone. Currently, the strongest expert in the Chen clan was only at the peak ghost profound realm. Following the decline of the Chen clan, Chen Lingfeng now had the qualifications to become an elder of the Chen clan. However, Chen Lingfeng couldn't feel happy at all. Recently, she kept having a premonition of impending doom, as if some kind of danger was approaching her step by step. I didn't expect that the reign immortal monarch to be so terrifying. He's actually an existence that even the secret race doesn't dare to provoke. The clan lord died because of him. Even Elder Lei Jinshi died because of him. If he knows that I'm the one who informed the clan lord and caused him to be assassinated, I wonder how he will deal with me. Fortunately, he will never know. Chen Lingfeng comforted herself. Suddenly, she raised her head and was slightly surprised. The window that was supposed to be closed had been opened without her noticing. Chen Lingfeng stood up and closed the window again. She turned and walked towards her bed. Her beautiful face immediately turned pale with fright. Under the moonlight, a white-robed young man with cold and emotionless eyes was staring at her quietly in her room. Chen Lingfeng, is it? From today onwards, you are my cauldron. Ning Fan's eyes flickered with cold light. He could ignore the cultivators who had nothing to do with him, but he would never let Chen Lingfeng go. He had already searched the souls of a few cultivators of the Chen clan. The person who caused him to be assassinated by crossing truth was Chen Lingfeng. Chapter 854. That night, 5 profound ghost cultivators mysteriously perished in the Chen clan. At the same time, the newly promoted Chen clan elder, Chen Lingfeng, went missing. This matter stirred up great waves on planet Wulan. The Chen family requested the 4 pavilions of Divine Void to investigate this matter. However, this request was ignored by the 4 pavilions of Divine Void pavilions. The Chen family and the Lei family were like flowers of the past. With the deaths of Chen Xian and Lei Jinshi, they were destined to decline. No one knew that the murderer was Ning Fan. No one knew that Chen Lingfeng had already been plucked and locked up in the profound Yin World's Repentance Palace. In the vast starry sky, Ning Fan held the star compass of the 3,000 lightning realms in his hand and flew at full speed, leaving the eastern sea star region. His plan was to go to the 3,000 thunder realm, to find a person. That person was the only disciple of Lightning Emperor Tai Su who was still alive. He had once followed Lightning Emperor and appeared in Eastern Heaven Immortal World. Thunderfall World Lord. Su Yenzong. Ning Fan murmured to himself as he sped along the way. He had no idea how far he had escaped from the Eastern Ocean Star region. Gradually, he had a feeling that he was being followed. A green light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He could immediately tell that there were dozens of old monsters who were hiding their bodies and following him from afar. The stalkers came from various forces. All of them were true immortal old monsters of Duzhen and Shikong realm. There were even some at the peak of Shikong realm. Currently, Ning Fan's name as the successor of ancient chaos had spread across the entire Eastern Heaven. Perhaps no one would dare to openly deal with him. In the dark, there were many forces that harbored different intentions towards Ning Fan. Exposing his identity as the descendant of ancient chaos did not only bring him benefits, but also a lot of hostility hidden in the dark. Ning Fan's eyes turned grim. While he was flying, he performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. Immediately, purple mist spread across the starry sky. Many old monsters who were following behind Ning Fan were engulfed by the purple mist, and were immediately bewitched by the illusion technique. Early-stage Duzhen and middle-stage Duzhen cultivators lost their minds once they were bewitched by the illusion. The old monsters at the late stage of crossing Truth Realm and above were lost in the illusion technique for a moment before they recovered. That's a pretty decent illusory technique. But it's a pity that it's futile to think that you can get rid of us with this technique. Among the trackers, an old monster at the peak of Sichuan realm snorted in disdain. With a wave of his hand, the purple mist was immediately dispersed by his palm. However, after the purple mist dispersed, Ning Fan's figure was nowhere to be seen. Ran away? The expression of the peak void abandoning old monster changed. Immediately, dozens of clones appeared from his body and performed hand seals at the same time. His soul consciousness, which was as vast as the sea, immediately spread out like a tide, almost covering an entire low-level star area. Unfortunately, he could not find any trace of Ning Fan even after spreading his spirit sense to the extreme. Strange. With this kid's speed, there's no reason for him to escape such a long distance in such a short period of time. If he's hiding here, it's impossible for him to hide from the senses of my clone. Could it be that he has 1,000-world treasure on him, and he's hiding it in the treasure? A dimensional treasure is indeed precious, but if he's the descendant of ancient chaos, it's not strange for him to have one. Sure enough, he's still hiding here. Humph. This old man doesn't believe that you can hide in the space of the world treasure forever. The old monster snorted coldly and immediately flew to a nearby abandoned planet. He sat down cross-legged and meditated, but his divine sense was still locked on this star field. Just like this old monster, the other stalkers also set up camps on the abandoned planets nearby, waiting for Ning Fan to show up. Spring passed and autumn came. They had been waiting here for tens of years, but Ning Fan had yet to show up. This was a story for the future. These people did not know that the reason why Ning Fan displayed the purple mist was to block their vision. He then summoned the ghost face and left in stealth mode. The innate stealth ability of the ghost face was naturally not something that these stalkers could discover. This time, after summoning the ghost face, Ning Fan did not keep it away anymore. Instead, he walked in the Eastern Heaven immortal world with the appearance of a ghost face with silver hair. If he walks in the Eastern Heaven with his true appearance, it would be too eye-catching and he would soon attract the attention of various forces. Ning Fan did not want to be followed by hundreds of stalkers with malicious intentions wherever he goes. The 3000 Thunderworld was extremely far from the Eastern Sea Star area. It would take an ordinary early true crossing realm cultivator at least 10 years to fly from the Eastern Sea Star area to the 3000 Thunder World. Naturally, cultivators who have comprehended the Earth shrinking technique could reach the 3000 Thunder World in half a year at most. The long distance gave Ning Fan the opportunity to cultivate the Golden Earth Light. The Golden Light could reach 1 billion li. This technique consumed a lot of magic power. Fortunately, Ning Fan could replenish it at any time. In his lightning star, there were still 2 lightning strikes from the sky renouncing strike. In his lightning diagram, there were still countless lightning fragments that could be refined to replenish his magic power. However, he did not use any of them. Instead, he flew and devoured the spiritual items of the 5 elements to replenish his magic power. In the main pavilion of the Merchant Pavilion, Ning Fan took away millions of traces of spirit flames, cold chi and spiritual lightning. The grade of these spiritual items might not be high, but they were perfect for his great 5 elements physique to devour and replenish his magic power. Moreover, devouring these spiritual items of the 5 elements could not only replenish his magic power, but also slowly increase the grade of his devil flame. Without the rapid consumption of the Golden Earth Light, Ning Fan would not be able to devour the spiritual items of the 5 elements so quickly. With the replenishment of his magic power, Ning Fan no longer needed to worry about the consumption of his magic power. Thus, he began to activate the golden earth light recklessly and flew in the starry sky. In the beginning, the momentum of Ningfan's golden light was astonishing. Occasionally, he would even directly crash into a certain cultivation planet, causing those cultivators along the way to panic. They just thought that an ancient monster had descended on their planet. Gradually, Ningfan became more and more proficient in using the golden earth light. He no longer lost control of it. When he deliberately slowed down his speed, the momentum of the golden earth light was no longer shocking. The starry sky along the way was no longer torn apart by the golden light, creating a 10,000 zhang ravine. The sound of his traveling light was also less whistling and piercing through the air. It was almost silent. Ningfan seemed to have turned into a ray of light, as if he no longer had a physical body. When the light traveled, it was naturally silent. If others did not see a ray of golden light flashing across the sky, they would not notice that Ningfan had flown past them. Even though he deliberately slowed down his traveling light, he only spent a month to reach the 3,000 Thunder Realm. During this 1 month, he had devoured more than 700,000 balls of spirit flames and spiritual lightning. The grade of his devil flame had improved from the mid-grade 8 to the peak grade 8. There was still a small distance left before he could break through to the 9th grade. This distance could not be achieved by devouring spiritual items. He had to achieve the breakthrough through enlightenment. The 8th grade spirit flame was a divine ability that life immortal realm cultivators often used. As for the 9th grade flame, it was also known as the true flame. It was a flame that only true immortals could control. In order to cultivate the true flame, one must at least reach the true crossing realm. However, not every true crossing realm cultivator had the ability to cultivate the true flame. In order to cultivate the true flame, I have to comprehend the word truth and break through to the true crossing realm. The true crossing realm is still very far away. I've arrived at the lightning region. This is the 3,000 Thunder Realm. Ningfan kept his traveling light and stood outside a star region where lightning was intertwining. It was an imperial star region named the Lightning Region. Unlike the other star regions, there were no cultivation planets in this region. Instead, there was a lightning continent floating in the sky. The entire lightning continent was divided into more than 3,000 lightning realms by the power of the realm. Therefore, outsiders often called the lightning region as the 3,000 Thunder Realm. The lightning realms here were divided into 10 levels, which was very similar to the division of the 10 grade sects in the Eastern Sea Star region. In a first-grade lightning realm, the strongest forces were Gold Core Realm, second-grade Nascent Soul Realm, third-grade Divine Transformation Realm, fourth-grade Void Refinement Realm, and fifth-grade Void Fragmentation Realm. A sixth-grade Lightning Realm usually had a Life Immortal Realm, a seventh-grade True Crossing Realm, a eighth-grade Void Shedding Realm, and a ninth-grade Thought Fragmentation Realm. Among the 3,000 Thunder Realms, there was only one 10th-grade Lightning Realm. That was where the strongest force in the 3 realms Lightning Realm, the Extreme Lightning Palace, was located. If the Palace Lord of the Extreme Lightning Palace was an immortal emperor, he or she would use the title, White Emperor. The current White Emperor was a female emperor named Lan Yunxian. When Sun Luo was annihilated, this female emperor was also present. Ningfan remembered that her motive was to take back the Thunder King seal that was taken away by Sun Luo. The 3,000 Thunder Realm is guarded by an immortal emperor. It's not good for me to expose my identity here. Otherwise, I'll definitely be spied on by the immortal emperor. The Lightning Fall Realm is a 6th grade Thunder Realm. The Realm Lord, Su Yenzong, is said to be a late ghost profound life immortal realm cultivator, who has been in charge of the Lightning Fall Realm for 400,000 years. However, according to the information that ACI gave me, this person had already been following Lightning Emperor Tai Su since 50 million years ago. If he really is a ghost profound life immortal realm cultivator, how could he have lived for such a long time? This is a little strange. Ningfan pondered for a long time. Then he shifted his gaze away from the 3,000 Thunder Realm and looked at a high-grade cultivation planet not far away from the Lightning Fall Realm. That high-grade cultivation planet was called the Demon Slaughter Planet. The strongest force there was the Demon Ruler Sect, which was a space-rending force. The demon slaughter planet was very famous in the Eastern Heaven Immortal world. It was not because of the demon ruler sect, but because there was a realm gate built on this planet which led directly to the battlefield between the divine race and the demon race. The savage battlefield. If Ningfan intends to enter the savage battlefield, he would definitely have to go to the demon ruler sect and open the realm gate with the battle order. Let's go to the Lightning Fall realm and look for Su Yenzong first. Ningfan made up his mind and immediately flew towards the outer region of the 3000 Thunder realm. He only controlled his qi and traveling speed at the mortal profound realm. In this way, he would not attract too much attention. With the traveling speed of a mortal profound realm cultivator, it would take him at least a few months to fly to the depths of the Lightning Fall realm. Even though the Lightning Fall realm was located at the outer region of the 3000 Thunder realm, he still spent nearly half a month to reach it. Lightning Fall realm, White Thunder sect. The Lightning Fall realm was a grade 6 lightning realm. However, it was quite famous in the 3000 Thunder realm. It was because 50 million years ago, there was an immortal emperor who lived in seclusion here. His name was Taisu. The place where Lightning Emperor Taisu lived in seclusion was long gone. However, in the Lightning Fall realm, there was an ancient sect that had been passed down to this day. That sect was called the White Thunder sect. It was said that it was founded by an ancient cultivator who worshipped Lightning Emperor Taisu. Since the beginning of the White Thunder sect's history, there had never been a true nascent soul realm cultivator in the sect. Among the old ancestors of the sect, the one with the highest cultivation base was the lord of this realm, Su Yenzong. People called him Heavenly Monarch Su. The current sect master of the White Thunder sect was a female cultivator at the fourth heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm. The White Thunder sect rarely recruited disciples from the outside. The entire sect had less than 10,000 disciples. To a life immortal realm force, 10,000 disciples was just too little. In the past, the huge White Thunder sect was cold and cheerless. However, in the past few months, the White Thunder sect was bustling with activity. There were many forces from the 6th grade Thunderworld that came to the White Thunder sect to make friends with the White Thunder sect. The White Thunder sect was just a grade 6 force. It was not worth the attention of the other grade 6 forces. However, no one expected that a disciple of a realm lord of a grade 7 lightning realm would fall in love with the sect master of the White Thunder sect a few months ago, and wanted to take her as his concubine. The realm lord of a grade 7 lightning realm must be a cultivator from the Dujin realm. Since that person was a disciple of the Dujin realm, the White Thunder sect naturally did not dare to reject his request. In the eyes of others, it was the fortune of the White Thunder sect for that person to fall in love with the Void Fragmentation realm's sect master. However, just like a person who drinks water, only one knows whether it is warm or cold. The sect master was not satisfied with this marriage, but there was nothing she could do. The Profound Thunder realm is a grade 7 lightning realm. The realm lord of the Profound Thunder realm is a dignified peak realm lord of the Dujin realm. It is said that he is only one step away from attaining the Void Renunciation realm. Our White Thunder sect cannot afford to offend the Profound Thunder realm. That disciple of his is lustful and unscrupulous. He is not a good match for you. We naturally know about this. However, you must marry this person. Otherwise, my White Thunder sect will probably be destroyed because of you. In the main hall of the White Thunder sect, 3 human Profound Realm old ancestors were sitting on the highest seats. One of them, an old man in brown robes, was talking to a lady below him with a deep voice. Below him, a blue-robed lady who was at the 4th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm stood. Her figure was graceful and her face was delicate and pretty. Her beautiful eyes were filled with despair. Her name was Lu Yan. She was the current sect master of the White Thunder sect. During one of her trips, she met the disciple of the Profound Thunder realm lord by chance, and was chosen by him. Lu Yan, you can't change this no matter whether you are willing or not. You are the sect master of the White Thunder sect. When you need to sacrifice yourself for the sect, you must do it without hesitation. This is your responsibility. The old man in brown robes reprimanded her again. Lu Yan's pretty face was pale. She bit her lips with her pearly white teeth. Finally, she mustered her courage and raised her head. Her eyes were filled with sadness. I want to see my master. I want to know if he has also agreed to this marriage." As soon as they heard Lu Yan's words, the expressions of the three human profound realm old ancestors changed. They wanted to say something but hesitated. Lu Yan's master was the realm lord of the fallen thunder realm. Su Yenzong. Is my master unwilling to see me? Has he also agreed to sacrifice me to protect the White Thunder sect? Lu Yan laughed at herself. No. It's not that the realm lord doesn't want to see you. It's just that. One of the human profound realm old ancestors was about to tell Lu Yan something, but his words were interrupted by the old man in brown robes. Enough. She's just a void fragmentation realm junior. Why do you need to explain to her? This matter has been decided. Who is it? The old man in brown robes suddenly stood up and looked towards the outside of the main hall with a solemn expression. Outside the main hall, a white-robed young man slowly walked into the main hall. He had a head full of silver hair and a ferocious silver ghost mask. The chi that was emitting from his body was at the early human profound realm. The three human profound realm old ancestors were shocked when they saw that this person was able to enter the main hall of the White Thunder sect without making a sound. The sect protection grand formation of the White Thunder sect was a profound ghost grand formation. No one in the human profound realm could enter the main hall of the White Thunder sect without triggering the grand formation. However, this person was able to do it. Lu Yan was slightly stunned. She turned her head and saw a silver-haired young man with cold eyes walking towards her step by step. The chi of this silver-haired young man was very cold. It was so cold that it made one's hair stand on end. However, the strange thing was that Lu Yan didn't feel afraid when she saw this person. Instead, she felt an inexplicable closeness to him. That closeness was indescribable. In the past, she would only have such a feeling when she was facing her master. She didn't expect that she would also feel this closeness when she was facing this unfamiliar human profound realm senior. Who are you? Why have you come to my White Thunder sect? Among the three human profound realm old ancestors, the brown-robed old man took a step forward. His eyes were cold and he asked in a deep voice. He was the one with the highest cultivation base among the three of them. He was at the mid-human profound realm. As he took a step forward, the boundless aura force of the mid-human profound realm immediately pressed down on the newcomer. You don't need to know who I am. I'm here to look for someone. Ning Fan raised his hand and made a grabbing gesture. He didn't use any ability, but the aura force of the brown-robed old man immediately collapsed. He coughed out blood and was forced to retreat. Hiss. The three human profound realm old ancestors, including the brown-robed old man, felt their blood run cold. They were convinced that Ning Fan was definitely not an early human profound realm expert. He was definitely hiding his cultivation base. He was at least at the peak human profound realm. If he didn't have a peak human profound realm cultivation base, how could he break the aura force of the brown-robed old man so easily? May I know who you're looking for? The way the three human profound realm experts looked at Ning Fan became fearful, and their tone became much more respectful. In the cultivation world, strength was everything. Ning Fan's strength was obviously much higher than theirs. How would they dare to be rude to him? I'm looking for Su Yenzong. As soon as Ning Fan's voice fell, even Lu Yan was slightly shocked. He actually came to look for her master. The expressions of the three human profound realm old ancestors suddenly became strange. The brown-robed old man recalled Su Yenzong's reminder. After a slight hesitation, he cupped his fists and asked, "Are you from the rain world of the lower world?" Boom! An unimaginably terrifying aura force immediately spread out from Ning Fan's body and pressed down on the brown-robed old man. Who told you this? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with coldness. The fact that he was a cultivator of the rain world was rarely known in the Eastern Heaven. But a mere mid-human profound realm expert in front of him could actually expose it. The others couldn't feel Ning Fan's aura force, but the brown-robed old man who was at the center of the aura force shivered from the bottom of his heart. He looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. He couldn't believe that the young man in front of him could emit such a terrifying aura force. If he wasn't human profound realm, he was at least ghost profound realm or even higher. He couldn't see through this person's true cultivation base. But judging from this person's attitude, he really came from the Rain world. Fellow Taoist, please calm down. It was the Realm Lord who told me that someone from the Rain world would come to find him. The brown-robed old man revealed a panicked expression and looked at Ning Fan in fear. He explained using telepathy, fearing that Ning Fan would misunderstand him if he explained too slowly. The two human profound realm old ancestors could not feel Ning Fan's aura force. Naturally, they didn't know how terrifying Ning Fan was. They didn't understand why the brown-robed old man would be so afraid of Ning Fan. Lu Yan's beautiful eyes were slightly shocked. Just at the moment when Ning Fan released his aura force, she actually felt a strange yet familiar lightning power from Ning Fan's body, causing some strange ancient scenes to appear in her mind. In those scenes, she wasn't a person but a magical treasure spirit. Did Su Yenzong tell you about it? Ning Fan's eyes slightly narrowed and retracted his aura force. The brown-robed old man immediately relaxed his body and smiled apologetically. Yes, it was the Realm Lord who told me about it. He said that someone from the Rain world would come and want to see him. He is approaching the returning ruins and he can't meet anyone. But if someone from the Rain world comes, he can meet them. Is that so? Ning Fan frowned. This unknown Su Yenzong seems to have some remarkable abilities. He actually predicted that I would come to find him. Moreover, the brown-robed old man also mentioned another matter. Su Yenzong was approaching the returning ruins. Fellow Taoist, please follow me to the back of the mountain to meet the Realm Lord. The brown-robed old man smiled apologetically. All right, lead the way. Under the guidance of the three human profound realm experts, Ning Fan left the main hall and walked towards the back of the mountain. However, just as they left the main hall, Ning Fan suddenly turned his head and looked at Lu Yan. His eyes were filled with confusion. Why is there a trace of Lightning Emperor Tai Su's aura on this girl? Chapter 855. White Thunder Sect, Forbidden Area behind the mountain. Within the forbidden ground, there was a stone cave dwelling. This cave dwelling was the place where the Thunderfall Realm Lord entered closed-door seclusion. Outside the cave, more than 20 cultivators of the Pure Thunder sect were guarding this place. The disciples guarding this place were all above the semi-god realm. Meanwhile, the three Void Refinement Stage Guard commanders were sitting in a pavilion at the side, drinking wine with green plums and discussing current affairs. Tsk. Fellow Taoists, have you heard? The 10th grade Extreme Thunder Realm, as well as the 7 9th grade Thunder Realms in the vicinity of the Extreme Thunder Realm, have all entered a state of emergency. It's said that the 8 great Thunder Realms have been thrown into chaos. No one knows what exactly happened to make those powerful cultivators so flustered. This old man has also heard about this matter. It is said that something has happened to the Supreme Thunder Palace, and they are currently looking for someone. As for who exactly they are looking for, even they themselves don't know. How ridiculous. Hee, those powerful cultivators must have encountered some big trouble. But what does that have to do with us? Void Refinement Realm cultivators like us only need to eat, drink and live a carefree life. We shouldn't meddle in other people's business. That's right, drink. The days of guarding the stone gate are really leisurely. Just as the three of them were leisurely drinking wine, all of a sudden, a cold berating voice entered their ears. It carried a vast pressure, directly shattering their wine cups, and causing them to vomit blood and be heavily injured. Humph. I asked you to guard the Realm Lord's pass, and this is how you guard. As soon as they heard this voice, the three mountain guards turned pale with fright. Not bothering to wipe the blood off their faces, they ran out of the pavilion in panic. When they saw who it was, they cursed inwardly and immediately clasped their hands in salute. Guardian Commanders Zhou Wen Lu Bing and Yu Chong greet the Patriarch of Law Enforcement. There were a total of 4 people. Other than the 3 human profound realm old ancestors, there was also a silver-haired cultivator, who wore a ghost mask. As for the person who berated the 3 of them, it was the brown-robed man named Xian. This person was the law enforcement ancestor of the White Thunder sect. He had always been strict with his subordinates and there was no one in the White Thunder sect who didn't fear him. When the other disciples saw that their leader was being punished, they were afraid that the law enforcement ancestor would punish them as well. Humph. Consider yourselves lucky that I have no time to punish you today. Forget it, you guys can leave for now." The brown-robed old man coldly snorted and dismissed the disciples. The disciples who were in charge of guarding the mountain hurriedly retreated, as if they were granted amnesty. However, before they left, they more or less glanced at Ning Fan curiously. The brown-robed old man had a cold and emotionless face to everyone, but in front of Ning Fan, his face was full of smiles. They were very curious about who exactly was Ning Fan that made the old ancestor treat him with such respect. Ning Fan's eyes flickered slightly. He had heard the conversation between the three commanders just now. Something big seemed to have happened in the 3000 Thunder Realm, causing all the realms to be on lockdown. However, all of this seemed to have nothing to do with him. Ancestor Su is in seclusion inside the stone chamber. Fellow Taoist, you can enter on your own. We will wait outside. After the brown-robed old man finished speaking, he took out a token and struck it at the stone wall. Immediately, the stone door of the stone chamber rumbled open, revealing a pitch-black passageway. Ning Fan remained silent for a while. In the end, he stepped into the stone door alone. The moment he entered the stone chamber, the stone door automatically closed. The two copper lamps on the stone walls suddenly lit up. The dim and swaying light left mottled shadows on the walkway. "Little friend, this old man has been waiting for you for a long time. You have finally come." Suddenly, a hoarse voice of an old man was heard from the depths of the stone chamber, carrying a hint of gratification. Ning Fan's eyes slightly narrowed. The one who spoke was a late ghost profound cultivator. His qi was filled with dense death qi, indicating that he was not far from death. This person was the only remaining disciple of Lightning Emperor Taisu, Su Yenzong. If the information of the little demoness was right, this person should have lived for more than 50 million years. Is his cultivation base really only at the ghost profound realm? Ning Fan walked towards the depths of the stone chamber with vigilance in his heart. At the end of the stone chamber was a stone chamber. The light in the chamber was dim. A skinny old man who was as thin as a match was sitting cross-legged on a praying mat. The old man's eye sockets were deeply sunken. His eyes were turbid, detached and listless. His body was emitting dense death qi. It was hard to imagine that he was a living person. The moment Ning Fan saw the old man, the lightning star on his glabella immediately felt boiling hot, as if it had sensed something from the old man. In an instant, Ning Fan understood how this late ghost profound old man could live for more than 50 million years. This person was indeed a late ghost profound cultivator, but he wasn't a living person, so he hadn't died yet. So he's a puppet. Ning Fan muttered to himself. This thin and small old man was Su Yenzong. He was a puppet personally created by Lightning Emperor Taisu. The strength of this puppet might not be strong, but because it was made by an immortal emperor, its body was concealed by the lightning power left by Lightning Emperor Taisu. Even those with profound cultivation base like Space Renhuang and Broken Thought might not be able to see through this person's identity. The reason why Ning Fan could see through this person's identity was because of the Taisu lightning star on his glabella. It allowed him to see through the concealment of the lightning power in the old man's body. Little friend is indeed the owner of the lightning star. You've actually seen through this old man's identity. As you can see, this old man is indeed a puppet personally made by Lightning Emperor. Puppets aren't living beings. Naturally, they won't have a limit on their lifespan and won't be troubled by the heavenly tribulation. However, nothing in this world can escape the erosion of time. This old man has tried his best to delay the decay of this puppet, but this puppet still has no choice but to decay. This old man's lifespan has reached its limit. Fortunately, little friend is still here. This old man knows that little friend has a lot of questions in your heart. I'll answer them one by one. The reason why this old man knows that little friend is from Rain World is because someone told me that once the Tao of Lightning Emperor is extinguished, little friend will come. Little friend, you don't have to ask me who that person is. It's useless even if you ask. I also don't know the identity of that person. I only know that his origin is very mysterious and his cultivation base is extremely terrifying. He's an old monster that even Lightning Emperor regards as his senior. Su Yenzong let out a few dry coughs. The chi of death in his eyes was getting heavier and heavier. Speaking these few words seemed to be exhausting his strength. He was thinking about the identity of the mysterious expert that Su Yenzong mentioned. There was once a mysterious expert who told Su Yenzong that there would be a cultivator from Rain World, who would come to find him after Lightning Emperor Taisu's Tao was extinguished. That mysterious expert was someone that even Lightning Emperor Taisu regarded as his senior. Who could that person be? Was there such a terrifying figure in the four heavens? Even if that person was a quasi-saint, it didn't seem to be enough for Lightning Emperor Taisu to regard him as his senior. 200 years ago, Lightning Emperor's Tao was extinguished, causing the Tao of lightning of heaven and earth to lose its ruler. At that time, countless old monsters in the four heavens traveled thousands of miles to 3000 Thunder World in search of the Tao fruit of sovereign, but to no avail. Of course they couldn't find it because the Tao of Lightning Emperor was extinguished and didn't form the Tao fruit of sovereign. However, ever since then, this old man knew that little friend would definitely come. This old man purposely spread some information in the eastern heaven, thinking that with little friend's ability, you would naturally have a way to obtain the information and come to find this old man. This old man knows the purpose of little friend's visit. There's an astrolabe hidden in this old man's puppet. That astrolabe shows the location of true lightning world. However, that astrolabe is a little special. Before Lightning Emperor placed it in this old man's puppet, the tool spirit had already been extracted. An ordinary astrolabe naturally doesn't need a tool spirit, but the astrolabe of true lightning world can only be controlled by a tool spirit, because the location of true lightning world is too special. It's not in an ordinary starry sky. The tool spirit is my disciple. That tool spirit used to be my disciple. Recently, she seemed to have encountered some trouble. I hope that little friend can treat her well. If you can spare her, try not to kill her. If you can take care of her a little, I won't have any regrets even if I die. Little friend, I hope that you can complete the task that Lightning Emperor entrusted to you. Save True Lightning World, and break the seal of True Lightning World. Su Yenzong felt like he had completed the most important task in his life. He had waited for 50 million years and Ningfan had finally arrived. Then he told Ningfan everything. His eyes were filled with gratification. He could finally die peacefully and follow his old master, Lightning Emperor Taisu. He had been living in loneliness and exhaustion for the past 50 million years. His eyes gradually turned dim. The death chi that he had been suppressing was finally no longer suppressed. He could finally be free. The death chi spread. The body of the puppet that he made with spiritual would immediately decay bit by bit. Eventually, it turned into ashes on the ground. Among the ashes, an ancient star compass that was made of red jade fell out. Ningfan looked at everything in silence. He was powerless to stop it. Even a puppet with Ghost's profound realm cultivation base would find it hard to live for 50 million years. This puppet had already reached its limit after enduring for so long. To it, continuing to exist was a kind of torture. His originally cautious heart had now turned into a sense of melancholy, turning into a bit of a sigh. After waiting for 50 million years, this puppet could be considered as having completed its task loyally. Perhaps it could die without any regrets. Senior, don't worry. I will definitely find a way to break the seal of True Lightning World in my lifetime. Ningfan cupped his fists and bowed to the ashes on the ground. Then he took out the red jade star compass from the pile of ashes. After pondering for a while, he finally built a grave in the stone chamber, and buried Su Yenzong's ashes in it. There were only 4 words on the tombstone: Death of the Lord. After doing all this, Ningfan finally had the leisure to carefully examine the red jade star compass. This red jade star compass was completely different from an ordinary star compass. Not only was it different in appearance, but it was also different in essence. Ningfan could not tell what the difference was with just a few words. This red jade star compass gave Ningfan a strange feeling. It was as if the starry sky indicated by this red jade star compass was another starry sky. It was in the eastern heaven, but at the same time, it was not in the eastern heaven. There's actually a lightning power seal on this star compass. Does it need to be unsealed before it can be used? Ningfan pondered for a moment. He did not walk out of the stone chamber, but directly unsealed the lightning power seal on the star compass. 10 days later, Ningfan finally finished unsealing the star compass. He kept the red jade star compass and left the stone chamber. Outside the stone chamber, there were still 3 human profound realm old ancestors waiting for him. However, at this moment, all of them had more or less some injuries on their bodies. The realm lord still passed away in the end. The moment the stone chamber was opened, the 3 of them immediately felt the dense death chi inside. Their expressions turned gloomy, and they sighed softly. The 3 of them had long known that Su Yenzong was approaching the returning void. All along, they had been hanging by a breath, waiting for Ningfan's appearance. Now that they knew that Su Yenzong was already dead, they were not too surprised. Ningfan, on the other hand, was slightly surprised when he found out that the 3 of them were actually injured. However, he did not ask about the reason for their injuries. Instead, he asked about other things. How many disciples does Realm Lord Su have? Ningfan's question was a little abrupt, but he had no choice but to ask. The red jade star compass was very special. It needed a tool spirit to indicate the location of the true lightning world. According to Su Yenzong, his disciple was the tool spirit of the red jade star compass. Ningfan naturally had to obtain this tool spirit. After hearing Ningfan's question, the 3 human profound realm old ancestors' expressions turned unnatural. The brown-robed old man hesitated for a long time, and said with a slightly unnatural expression, "There is only one disciple of the Realm Lord. She is the current sect master of our White Lightning sect. Lu Yan." "Only one? Then it should be her. Ask Lu Yan to come and see me." Ningfan's mind involuntarily recalled the lady he saw in the main hall of the White Lightning sect. That lady gave Ningfan a strange feeling. There was actually a trace of Lightning Emperor Tai Su's chi in her body. Now that he thought about it, that lady should be Lu Yan, the tool spirit of the red jade star compass. The brown-robed old man immediately showed a troubled expression. Another human profound realm old ancestor asked with a bitter smile, "I wonder why fellow Taoist is looking for Lu Yan. Could it be that you have taken a fancy to this lady?" "No. I'm looking for her for another important matter." "I see. It's good that you didn't take a fancy to this lady." That human profound realm old ancestor heaved a sigh of relief. The brown-robed old man also regained his senses, and said to Ningfan with a bitter smile, "I'm afraid it will be a little difficult for fellow Taoist to see Lu Yan. A few days ago, the Profound Thunder Realm Lord had already sent his men to forcefully take her to the Profound Thunder Realm. We wanted to stop him, but we were too weak and suffered some injuries instead. Now, I'm afraid this lady is about to reach the Profound Thunder Realm." "What do you mean?" Ningfan frowned. Why would his tool spirit be taken away by someone else? Sigh. Lu Yan's life is really tough. Who asked her to be taken by the disciple of the Profound Thunder Realm Lord? Yujizi. I'm afraid she's like a sheep entering a wolf's den. She won't be able to escape death. It's very difficult for those women who have been plucked by Yujizi to live past the second day. Forget it. There's no hope for Lu Yan to return. It's time for us to appoint a new sect master. The few human Profound Realm old ancestors sighed with emotion. They did not notice that Ningfan's expression had already darkened. He did not care how indifferent the few human Profound Realm old ancestors of the White Thunder sect were to Lu Yan's life and death. However, the moment he took over the Red Jade Astrolabe, Lu Yan had already become the tool spirit of his magic treasure. She was the guarantee for him to go to the true Thunder World. Not just anyone had the right to touch his artifact spirit. The Profound Thunder World, huh? For the sake of that Lu Yan, I'll make a trip there. Ningfan's eyes flashed. With a sway of his body, he immediately turned into a rainbow and left the White Thunder sect. The direction he was heading towards was the Profound Thunder World. The eyes of the three human Profound Realm old ancestors immediately widened. Could it be that Ningfan was going to the Profound Thunder World to snatch Lu Yan? This man is at most a life immortal realm expert. If he offends the Profound Thunder Realm Lord, he will certainly die. It's really unwise to offend the Profound Thunder World for a mere Lu Yan. Sigh. I can only hope that he won't anger the profound thunder world and vent his anger on us. The three of them thought without any backbone. In the Thunderfall world, 1,000 li away from the White Thunder sect, in a certain barren mountain, a barefooted little girl with a head full of silver hair and dressed in white robes was walking towards the White Thunder sect. She was about 6 or 7 years old. She was plucking wildflowers, weaving flower garlands, and humming a sweet song as she walked towards the White Thunder sect. She did not walk fast, and there was no trace of chi of her cultivation base on her body. However, some of the ferocious beasts in the barren mountain were fearful of her. It was this innocent and naive little girl, who had once defeated all the ferocious beasts in the mountain with a smile. Her strength was extremely terrifying. Little Qianqian is too fierce. Little Yuyu is too long-winded. Little Qingqing is too old-fashioned. Little Ruru is too pretentious. It's better for me to come out alone to have some fun. And what is this Thunder World called again? Thunderfall World. It seems to be this name. It smells so good. I'm so hungry. I really want to eat it. What's that smell? The little girl suddenly raised her head and looked at the direction where Ningfan had gone. Her saliva flowed out from her mouth and her big eyes flashed with faint lightning. Quietly follow him. The little girl tapped the ground with her toes, and her body immediately turned into a bolt of lightning, instantly disappearing from where she stood. It was obvious that there was no aura of cultivation, but its speed was comparable to the early stage of shedding void. No one knew anything about this. Grade 7 Thunder World, Profound Thunder World, Heavenly Moon Sect. Inside the Heavenly Moon Sect, red silk and colorful brocade were hung everywhere, and the sound of bells, cauldrons, and harps could be heard endlessly. Today was a joyous day for the Heavenly Moon Sect. Ujizi, the sect master of the Heavenly Moon Sect, was going to marry his 252nd concubine today. For ordinary cultivators, marrying a few concubines was a trivial matter that was not worth mentioning in the cultivation world. There was no need to hold a grand banquet. However, Ujizi was different. He was a person who loved extravagance. Even if he was marrying a concubine, he would make it known to the world and invite fellow Taoists from all over the world to congratulate him. He was the personal disciple of the Xianlei Realm Lord. Others naturally had to give him face. Also, every time someone came to congratulate him, the gifts couldn't be too meager. Streaks of light flew over. They were all guests who had come to congratulate him. In the main hall of the Heavenly Moon Sect, Ujizi was wearing a red wedding robe. His face was glowing as he received the guests who came to congratulate him. Ujizi was an early spirit profound realm cultivator. Those who were qualified to be invited by him had to be at least a life immortal. Almost all the reputable sect masters in the profound Thunder World had been invited by Ujizi. In the main hall, most of the old monsters were conceited. They only came because of Ujizi's identity. None of them had the intention to curry favor with Ujizi. However, there were also some cultivators who were good at currying favor with Ujizi. Once they had the chance, they would immediately put on a smiling face and curry favor with Ujizi. Haha, brother you. I have nothing to congratulate you on today's joyous occasion. Here is a small token of my appreciation. I hope brother you will accept it. Congratulations. I heard that Brother Yu's new concubine is the sect master of a grade 6 Thunder World. TSK, Brother Yu's luck with women is not shallow. I admire you. Speaking of which, why hasn't Brother Yu's concubine appeared yet? Let me see what kind of beauty she is to be able to make Brother Yu fall in love with her. Ujizi couldn't help but blush when he heard the compliments. He was extremely proud of himself. When he thought that he would be able to taste Lu Yan's wonderful taste after today, a certain part of Ujizi's body immediately became hot. The only regret was that the cultivators who went to kidnap Lu Yan were a little slow and had not returned yet. However, there was no hurry. After calculating the time, those people would bring Lu Yan back in a little while. Rumble, rumble. Suddenly, a deafening sound of thunder came from outside the Heavenly Moon Sect. When he heard the sound of thunder, Ujizi immediately clapped his hands and laughed. He couldn't be more familiar with the sound of thunder. It was the sound of the thunder chariot. The Thunder Chariot was a flying magical treasure unique to the 3000 Thunder world. It was extremely fast and only some cultivators with high status were qualified to own it. Relying on the fact that his master was the lord of the profound Thunder world, Yujizi obtained a low-grade Thunder Chariot. In order to bring Lu Yen back as soon as possible, Yujizi deliberately gave the Thunder Chariot to a few of his subordinates. At this moment, the sky outside the Heavenly Moon sect was gloomy. Dark clouds covered the sky and muffled thunder could be heard from time to time. In the midst of the lightning, 4 late ghost profound old monsters were riding a Thunder Chariot that was dazzling with lightning, speeding towards the Heavenly Moon sect. In the Thunder Chariot, there was a woman with despair in her eyes. She was Lu Yen. At this moment, her pretty face was pale, and she was wearing a bright red wedding dress. That was the wedding dress that the 3 old ancestors of the White Thunder sect had prepared for her. If Master knew that I was kidnapped by a villain, he would definitely not sit idly by. Even if he knew that the other party was a 7th grade force, he would not be afraid. However, Yujizi sent people to kidnap me this time, but Master did not step out of the stone chamber at all. He did not care about what happened to me. There is only one reason for this. Master must be so weak that he cannot step out of the stone chamber anymore. Master is the only person in this world who cares about me. Other than Master, no one in the White Thunder sect cares about my life or death. If Master can't save me, then no one in this world will save me. No one will care about me anymore. Boom! The Thunder Chariot landed heavily outside the main hall of the Heavenly Moon sect, causing countless gravel to fly up. The 4 late ghost profound old monsters got off the Thunder Chariot and opened the door to let Lu Yen out. Their cold eyes were locked on Lu Yen. If Lu Yen had the thought of escaping, they would certainly stop her. How could a mere 4th heavenly layer void fragmentation girl escape from their palms? Go in. The sect master is waiting for you. If you dare to resist and anger the sect master, the White Thunder sect will certainly be annihilated. If you dare to commit suicide, your master will certainly die with you. The 4 old monsters said in a deep voice. Lu Yen clenched her fists unwillingly. She naturally did not know that her master was already dead. If she was alone, she would rather commit suicide than marry Yujizi. However, these 4 old monsters threatened her that if she dared to resist and commit suicide, the White Thunder sect and her master would bear the wrath of the profound Thunder world for her. She was unwilling, but she did not dare to disobey. She might never be able to escape from the evil clutches of Yujizi for the rest of her life after stepping into the main hall. If she was lucky, she could still survive after being toyed with. If she was unlucky, she might be toyed to death or be rewarded to a servant by Yujizi. There's no way to escape. I can only accept my fate. Lu Yen closed her eyes. 2 streams of tears rolled down her cheeks as she walked into the main hall step by step. Her appearance was delicate and pretty. Her figure was like a willow branch swaying in the wind. The most attractive thing about her was her seemingly delicate body and her eyes that were obviously weak, but had a hint of stubbornness. As soon as she entered the main hall, the eyes of many old monsters in the hall immediately lit up. Yujizi's eyes were even more scorching as if they were ignited with flames. If it wasn't because of the inappropriate occasion, he really wished that he could strip Lu Yen naked and eat her up. Suppressing the fire of lust in his heart, Yujizi licked his lips and gave a meaningful glance to the master of ceremonies beside him. The old man understood his meaning. He immediately cleared his throat and cupped his fists towards the old monsters in the main hall. Today is a joyous day for the sect master of Heavenly Moon sect. All of you have come from thousands of miles away to congratulate him. On behalf of my sect master, this old man would like to propose a toast to all of you. This old man was one of the 4 great protectors of the profound Thunder Realm Lord. He was an intermediate crossing Truth Realm cultivator, who was sent by the profound Thunder Realm Lord to protect Yujizi. The old man raised his wine cup. Naturally, the old monsters present didn't dare to be negligent. They all raised their wine cups in front of them and gestured from afar. Lu Yen smiled bitterly. The joy of others was great, but for her, it was great sorrow and misfortune. The maidservant beside her handed her a cup of wine. With a quick glance, she could tell that there was something in the wine, She didn't refuse or resist. She just closed her eyes and drank the wine in one gulp. As soon as the wine entered her stomach, a gush of hot air immediately rushed out of her lower abdomen and ran rampant in her delicate body. Her pale face immediately turned abnormally red and her delicate body began to go limp. Sure enough, the wine was laced with that kind of medicine. Lu Yan closed her eyes bitterly. The old monsters beside her also filled their cups with wine. The old man nodded with satisfaction. He put down the wine cup and was about to say something. Suddenly, the entire mountain peak where Heavenly Moon Sect was located shook violently. At this moment, the sect protecting grand formation of Heavenly Moon Sect was shattered by a palm strike. Outside the main hall, a white-robed young man with a ghost face and silver hair walked in step by step with a cold gaze. The moment she saw this white-robed young man, Lu Yan's heart that was originally filled with despair was suddenly filled with some hope. The moment she heard the young man's words, she was sure that this person was here to save her. Tears of grievance immediately flowed out. "I'm sorry, she is my artifact spirit. I want to take her away." Chapter 856. Silence. The entire main hall of Heavenly Moon Sect was dead silent. The guests were startled at first, then revealed a sarcastic expression as they looked at Ning Fan. No one expected that such a ridiculous scene would happen in the wedding banquet of Heavenly Moon Sect. An early human profound cultivator actually dared to say that Ujizi's concubine was his tool spirit and wanted to take her away. He was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Interesting. A mere early human profound cultivator dared to provoke Heavenly Moon Sect. There will be a good show to watch today. I wonder what kind of miserable ending this person will have. Daring to snatch Ujizi's concubine, this person's courage is commendable. But, what's the use of courage in front of absolute strength? It's all in vain. This person's arrogant words are no different from slapping Heavenly Moon Sect's face. Ujizi will never let this person go. Voices of discussion rose in the surroundings. Ujizi's smile froze on his face and turned gloomy. Who are you? You dare to break into Heavenly Moon Sect and snatch my concubine. Although Ujizi was angry, he suppressed his anger and didn't act rashly. He wanted to know the identity of the intruder first. He relied on his master's strength to act arrogantly, but he also understood that there were too many people in this world who had the qualifications to be arrogant and had a stronger background than him. Ning Fan didn't reveal a strong cultivation base, but his cold eyes gave Ujizi a feeling that he couldn't be underestimated. Perhaps this person was the descendant of an 8th-grade Thunderworld Lord. He must have something to rely on since he dared to break into Heavenly Moon Sect. You don't have the qualifications to know who I am. You come with me. Ning Fan's cold eyes swept across Ujizi. The second half of his words were directed at Lu Yan. Lu Yan had an indescribable closeness to Ning Fan in her heart. This closeness originated from her identity as a tool spirit. She naturally wouldn't resist Ning Fan's words too much. She wiped away the tears of grievance and walked towards Ning Fan step by step. When she stood behind Ning Fan, she suddenly realized that she seemed to have blindly followed Ning Fan's words. However, she didn't know why she was willing to go with him. It was like a magical treasure that couldn't abandon its master. Ujizi's expression became even more gloomy. Lu Yan was his concubine, yet she dared to leave with another man in public. He doesn't dare to reveal his identity. I'm afraid this person doesn't have an identity that I'm afraid of. That's why he said that on purpose. Deliberately mystifying things. How dare you provoke me without any background? Ujizi sneered in his heart. He was certain that Ning Fan did not have any backing, which made him even more confident. His eyes flashed with ferocious light. A human profound realm cultivator without any background dared to cause trouble at his Heavenly Moon Sect. He must pay the price in blood. 4 demon guards, kill this man. As for that bitch, I'll kill her too. Yes. Following Ujizi's order, 4 black shadows flashed out from the main hall and surrounded Ning Fan and Lu Yan. These 4 people were the 4 late ghost profound experts who were responsible for rescuing Lu Yan. Once they received the sect master's order, the 4 of them immediately attacked Ning Fan's without hesitation. Their palms shot out black lightning. With Ning Fan as the center, a black lightning barrier immediately appeared within a radius of 10 zhang, trapping him within. 4 Devil Thunder World. Many old monsters in the main hall were shocked when they saw this technique. Yu Jizi's eyes flashed with a trace of complacency. This 4 Devil Thunder World was a combined lightning technique created by his master. When used by 4 late Ghost Profound experts, it could even kill a peak Ghost Profound expert. Not good. Lu Yan's face turned pale. Being trapped in the 4 Devil Lightning World, she immediately felt that death was approaching. Subconsciously, she wanted to take out the Ghost Profound Jade slip from her storage pouch to protect herself. However, Ning Fan held her wrist. "Don't be afraid. I'm here." Ning Fan's voice was very calm. It was just a casual sentence, but it had the power to convince others. It calmed the panic in Lu Yan's heart and calmed her beautiful eyes. As long as he was here, nothing would happen even if the sky collapsed. Even if all the experts of the Profound Thunder World came to hunt them down, nothing would happen. Lu Yan didn't know Ning Fan's appearance, name or real cultivation base. However, the lightning chi in Ning Fan's body made her feel incomparably relieved. Boom, as the 4 devil guards made hand seals, heaven-shaking and earth-shattering black lightning exploded in the barrier. Even a peak Ghost Profound expert wouldn't be able to escape death under the lightning strike. Although Ning Fan was also a peak Ghost Profound expert, his strength was not limited to the Ghost Profound realm. His eyes began to shine with a cold light. He originally wanted to take Lu Yan away, but since Heavenly Moon Sect dared to kill him, they couldn't blame him for retaliating. Ning Fan didn't use any divine ability. He just raised his palm and casually grabbed with his 5 fingers. The force of this grab was precisely on the vein of the Tao Law of Lightning. An unimaginable destructive force immediately crashed in all directions. The 4 Devil Thunder World, which was powerful enough to kill a peak Ghost Profound expert, immediately collapsed under Ning Fan's grab. The eyes of all the old monsters in the main hall were filled with horror. The 4 Devil Thunder World was broken. Bang! 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 As the barrier collapsed, the 4 devil guards immediately spurted out blood and retreated. Before they could regain their footing, their faces were filled with extreme fear. Ning Fan suddenly raised his finger and pointed. 4 bone-chilling chilly winds immediately appeared in the main hall. They rolled up 4 black dragon shadows and rushed towards the 4 of them. This technique was the wind calling technique that Ning Fan had comprehended from the Immortal Sealing Monument. Ning Fan didn't use the divine ability that made him famous during the battle in the tomb because he didn't want to expose his identity. Under the 4 wind dragons, the 4 late Ghost Profound devil guards didn't even have the time to scream. Their bodies were blown by the chilly winds and immediately decayed into white bones. Only the 4 primordial spirits of the devils survived. But as Ning Fan bent his palm, the primordial spirits of the 4 devil guards and their storage pouches were all taken away by Ning Fan. Their primordial spirits were naturally erased and sealed. They would be refined using a secret technique in the future to perform the spirit blasting technique. Although there weren't many things in the storage pouches, Ning Fan wouldn't let them go. The bone-chilling chilly winds brushed past the cheeks of countless old monsters, causing them to feel a chill down their spines. Yu Jizi looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. He couldn't believe that Ning Fan wasn't an early human profound expert, but an existence whose strength was comparable to Du Jun. Cultivators of Du Jun were as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns in the 7th grade Thunder World. Could this man be an old monster of Du Jun? Die! Ning Fan's cold eyes swept towards Yu Jizi. He lifted his finger and pointed. 4 wind dragons immediately rolled towards Yu Jizi with killing intent. Under the heavy chilly winds, Yu Jizi felt that he would die for the first time in his life. However, before the chilly winds could reach him, the intermediate Dujin old man who was sent by the Profound Thunder Realm Lord to protect Yu Jizi had already stepped forward and stood in front of him. "Young Lord, don't worry. With me here, no one can hurt you." The old man's eyes were filled with arrogance. He was an intermediate Dujin expert. He was one of the 4 guardians of the Profound Thunder Realm Lord. His name was Feng Lazy. He was already a peak expert in the Profound Thunder Realm. Although Ning Fan's call wind technique was powerful, he was confident that he could block it. He raised his hand and a ray of lightning flew out from his sleeve, blocking in front of him. Wind Thunder Banner, withdraw. Feng Lezi said coldly. The lightning was the Dao weapon of Feng Lezi. It was called the Wind Thunder Banner. It had a great restraining effect on wind and lightning. Although the call wind technique was powerful, it was restrained by the Wind Thunder Banner. Why should Feng Lezi be afraid? The banner flashed, and the 4 black wind dragons were immediately sucked into it. Feng Lezi harumphed coldly, as if he disdained the call wind technique. But in the next moment, his eyes were filled with astonishment. After absorbing the call wind technique, the spiritual light of the Wind Thunder Banner in front of him dimmed and countless cracks appeared on it. In the next moment, a big hole suddenly appeared on the Wind Thunder Banner. 4 black wind dragons roared and rushed out, pressing towards him and Ujizi. Ujizi's face was filled with horror. He was powerless to resist the attack. With a wail, his physical body was annihilated, leaving only a white skeleton. His primordial spirit was swept back by the cold wind, and was killed by Ning Fan. His storage pouch was taken away. Feng Lezi was much luckier. He wasn't injured by the call wind technique. If he was hit by the black wind dragons, he would at least be severely injured. In such a critical moment, Feng Lezi displayed an extremely sinister secret technique of the Devil Dao, lightning substitution technique. An old monster who was watching the battle from the side didn't have time to react, and directly swapped his position with Feng Lezi. Immediately, that old monster replaced Feng Lezi and died in the black wind. As for Feng Lezi, his body was drenched in cold sweat. That was close. If he was half a step slower in using the lightning substitution technique, he would have died under the call wind technique. However, the act of Feng Lezi grabbing a substitute immediately caused panic among the old monsters in the main hall. Countless old monsters' expression changed drastically. They fled out of the main hall in panic, fearing that Feng Lezi would grab them as substitutes during Ning Fan's next attack. What shocked them the most was that Ning Fan's strength was so terrifying that even Feng Lezi, who was at the intermediate crossing truth realm, was almost severely injured by the call wind technique. What kind of ability is this Yin wind technique? Its power is so terrifying. I have never heard of any force in the eastern heaven that has such a divine ability. What's the background of that ghost-masked cultivator? Could he be a ghost-masked expert from the Slaughter Palace? No. I have never heard of anyone in the Slaughter Palace who would wear a silver ghost-masked cultivator. The energy of the 4 wind dragons was exhausted, and they gradually disappeared. Ning Fan's eyes swept across Feng Lezi indifferently. The lightning substitution technique that he displayed had aroused Ning Fan's interest. Feng Lezi looked at Ning Fan in despair. He couldn't figure out Ning Fan's strength, but he could tell that Ning Fan was stronger than him. If the battle continues, he might die in Ning Fan's hands even if he had the secret technique of the lightning substitution technique. Damn it! If the other 3 protectors were here and cast the 4 Devil Thunderworld technique with this old man. Even if this person is a late-stage true crossing realm expert, this old man has the confidence to kill him. I'm the only one here. Am I going to die here today? Just when Feng Lezi was in despair, a thunderous roar suddenly resounded outside the Heavenly Moon sect. Dark clouds covered the sky and the lightning seemed to be raging. That anger seemed to be able to blast the sky apart. The moment they heard the thunderous roar, Feng Lezi's face was filled with joy. The remaining cultivators of the Heavenly Moon sect were also overjoyed. The old monsters of the profound thunder world, who had fled to the outside of the main hall, were shocked. Amidst the rumbling thunder, a lightning chariot with rolling golden lightning came from afar. The chariot was being driven by 3 mid-crossing truth realm cultivators respectfully. Low-grade silver lightning, mid-grade golden lightning. Only the realm lord of the 7th grade thunderworld was qualified to ride on this golden lightning chariot. The lightning chariot was originally very far away, but it arrived above the Heavenly Moon sect in the blink of an eye. When the chariot arrived, the 3 Dujin cultivators did not make a move. Before the people in the chariot could get out, a golden lightning spear flashed out from the chariot and pierced towards the main hall of the Heavenly Moon sect. The target of the lightning spear was Ning Fan and Lu Yen, who were in the main hall. The person who controlled the lightning spear had a cultivation base that was infinitely close to the void-rending realm. No matter who you are, you must die today since you dared to kill my disciple. A domineering voice of an elderly man resounded from the golden lightning chariot. The owner of the voice was none other than the profound Thunderworld Lord. In just a flash, the lightning spear had already penetrated the main hall of the Heavenly Moon sect, and was 3 feet away from Ningfan's head with a destructive force that was close to the void-rending realm. Ningfan did not summon the lightning diagram to counterattack. He just grabbed Lu Yan's slender waist and disappeared from the spot when the lightning spear was about to reach him. At the next moment, the main hall collapsed. Not only the main hall of the Heavenly Moon sect, but the entire Heavenly Moon Mountain also collapsed under the attack of the lightning spear. The cultivators of the Heavenly Moon sect in the main hall were attacked indiscriminately. No one knew how many of them were killed or injured. No one knew if Ningfan had escaped the attack of the lightning spear. Feng Lei led a small number of cultivators and flew towards the direction of the lightning chariot. Their eyes were filled with respect and passion as they cupped their fists and bowed. Your subordinate, Feng Lei, greets the Realm Lord. If it wasn't for the Realm Lord who came in time and killed that madman, I would have probably died in his hands. Humph! You failed to protect my disciple. From today onwards, you will be punished. As for that madman, it seems like he is still alive. I will personally kill him to avenge you, heir. A cold voice resounded from the carriage. What? That person is still alive. Feng Lei was shocked. The expressions of the 3 Duzhen cultivators who were driving the carriage also changed slightly. The Realm Lord Xianlei did not care about the astonishment of Feng Lei and the others. He just turned into a ray of dazzling lightning light and walked out of the lightning chariot. With a wave of his hand, the lightning spear immediately returned to his hand. It was a white-haired old man with strong muscles. Lightning flashed around his body. His eyes were full of killing intent under his angry brows. Feng Lei and the other 3 mid-Duzhen cultivators followed behind the Realm Lord Xianlei. They were the 4 guardians of the Realm Lord. In the sky, Ningfan and Lu Yan's figures slowly appeared. The moment he saw Ningfan, the Realm Lord's killing intent reached its peak. As he held the lightning spear horizontally, golden lightning exploded beneath the Realm Lord Xianlei's feet. Immediately, the gigantic shadow of an ancient deity appeared between heaven and earth. That gigantic shadow was covered in golden lightning. It carried 8 thunder drums on its back and held a lightning hammer in its hand. Its eyes were as sharp as lightning. That gigantic shadow was the Tao image of the Realm Lord Xianlei, the glaring lightning god. Those who have nothing to do with this, get out of the territory of the Heavenly Moon sect. Today this old man is going to punish you here. Raging lightning barrier. Open. The Realm Lord Xianlei pointed his lightning spear forward. The gigantic deity shadow behind him immediately activated the lightning barrier, trapping Ningfan and Lu Yan within it. Inside the barrier were also the Realm Lord Xianlei, Feng Lei and the other 3 guardians. The raging lightning barrier was a domain-type divine ability. Within this barrier, the Realm Lord Xianlei would be the lord of all lightning. His strength was comparable to the early Shidu Void realm. As soon as they saw the Realm Lord Xianlei activating the barrier, the cultivators of the Heavenly Moon sect and the guests who came to attend the banquet revealed a look of fear. Countless rays of light flew out from the ruins of the Heavenly Moon Mountain, fleeing for their lives. Because of the barrier, no one dared to watch the battle from here. No one could see through the lightning to watch the battle. 1,000 years ago, the Realm Lord Xianlei had once fought against an early Shidu Void Realm cultivator and activated the raging lightning barrier. In that battle, that early Shidu Void Realm cultivator actually failed to defeat the Realm Lord Xianlei. As for the land within a million li of the barrier, it had turned into ruins. Countless innocent living beings died under the lightning power of the barrier. There's no need to watch anymore. Unless that ghost-faced cultivator is a Shidu Void Realm cultivator, he will definitely die in the raging lightning barrier. Countless cultivators sighed. Inside the barrier, Ningfan's eyes slightly moved. Even though he possessed the Taisu lightning star, his lightning power was slightly suppressed in this barrier. It was indeed a powerful barrier. However, in front of Ningfan, who had comprehended the secret of the word force, It was full of loopholes. It was not difficult to break it. He did not plan to destroy the barrier. To him, the existence of this barrier also had its benefits. As long as the barrier exists, outsiders would not be able to see the battle inside. In this barrier, he did not need to worry about anything. He could use his full strength to kill the Realm Lord Xianlei and the others. Wait for me in the world treasure first. Once this battle is over, I will let you out. Ning Fan waved his hand and sent Lu Yen into the profound Yin world. The eyes of the Realm Lord Xianlei, who was full of killing intent, immediately flickered. In his raging lightning barrier, outsiders would never be able to open his storage pouch or small Kiliacosm world treasure. This was another powerful aspect of this barrier. However, Ning Fan actually kept Lu Yen into the world treasure in this barrier. This man actually has a middle Kiliacosm world treasure. What exactly is his background? The Realm Lord Xianlei's heart suddenly had a hint of uneasiness, as if it would be a wrong decision for him to recklessly kill Ning Fan. Feng Leizi and the other 3 guardians were also shocked. A middle Kiliacosm world treasure could only be possessed by immortal emperors. Could this ghost-face cultivator in front of them be the successor of an immortal emperor? Otherwise, how could he possess a middle Kiliacosm world treasure? If this man is not a world treasure that he picked up, his background must be rather terrifying. No. Among all the immortal emperors of Eastern Heaven, there has never been a successor like Ning Fan. This man can't be the successor of an immortal emperor. His middle Kiliacosm world treasure might just be obtained by chance. Kill this man and we will be able to obtain the world treasure. The eyes of the Xianlei Realm Lord instantly flashed with greed as he spoke to the 4 protectors. Kill. Whether it was to avenge his disciple, or to seize the world treasure, Ning Fan had to kill him. As soon as Feng Leizi received the Realm Lord's order, his eyes immediately turned extremely cold. He glared at Ning Fan ferociously and smiled. Previously he was suppressed by Ning Fan. Now that the 4 guardians were all here, and he was trapped in the Realm Lord's barrier, it was finally his turn to take revenge. Feng Leizi and the other 3 mid-crossing Truth Realm experts flashed and immediately surrounded Ning Fan. Black lightning shot out from their palms, and they opened the 4 Devil Lightning world. Ning Fan did not dodge. He just stared at the 4 of them quietly. The coldness in his eyes became deeper, and he uttered 5 words coldly. Yin Yang Rain Unseal. Just as he uttered those words, Ning Fan's aura force suddenly skyrocketed. With a wave of his hand, the 4 Devil Lightning world immediately collapsed. Feng Leizi and the others coughed out blood and retreated. They looked at Ning Fan, who destroyed the Devil Lightning world with his palm, in disbelief. Their faces were filled with fear. For the first time in his life, the Realm Lord Xianlei, who was originally domineering, showed a look of regret. The raging lightning barrier was still in place. Inside the barrier, countless raindrops fell from the sky like a waterfall. Within the curtain of rain, Ning Fan suddenly patted his sword pouch. Immediately, 5 rays of sword shadows that carried an inextinguishable rain intent slashed at the 5 of them. These 5 swords were none other than the 5 swords of rain. Any lightning that tried to stop the 5 swords were all destroyed by the sword light of the 5 swords. Among them, the 4-minute sword slashed at Feng Leizi and the other 3 guardians respectively. As soon as the sword light flashed, the 4 of them immediately let out a blood-curdling shriek. In an instant, they were hit by the hundreds of millions of sword rain, and their physical bodies exploded into a rain of blood. The separation and reunion sword slashed down at the Realm Lord Xianlei's head with an aura force that was infinitely close to that of an innate treasure. The Realm Lord Xianlei was filled with regret. At this moment he recognized Ning Fan's identity. In other words, if Ning Fan displayed the various abilities of the Yin Yang Rain technique, almost everyone would recognize him. Rain Immortal Monarch. This man is actually the Rain Immortal Monarch, the disciple of ancient chaos, an existence that even the secret races don't dare to offend. Not good. I can't stop this sword. Arg. A heart-wrenching scream resounded from the raging lightning barrier, spreading far and wide. The sword slashed the profound lightning barrier. 5 strands of dense death chi soared into the sky from within the barrier. All the old monsters of the profound lightning realm who heard the scream felt as if their heads were filled with cold air. When the rain and mist dispersed, the yin-yang rain barrier was sealed once again. When the raging lightning barrier collapsed, the silver-haired Ning Fan with a ghost face reappeared in front of the crowd of cultivators. He was holding a thin lightning thread in his hand. 5 unconscious primordial spirits were pierced through the thin thread. They were the primordial spirits of the realm Lord Xianlei, Feng Leizi, and the other guardians. Who is this man? Could he be an old monster Shikong? He actually killed the realm Lord Xianlei in the raging lightning barrier. Who is he? Ghost-faced, silver-haired. There aren't many silver-haired cultivators in Eastern Heaven. Could he be the revered lightning punishment of the Extreme Lightning Palace? At this moment, who would still dare to say that Ning Fan's act of breaking into the Heavenly Moon sect alone was a joke? Those who would say such stupid things are laughable. Chapter 857. In just half a day, a piece of news that shocked many old monsters spread across countless 7th-grade Thunder Worlds. Even some of the old monsters from the Level 8 Thunder World were slightly moved when they heard the news. The mysterious Thunder World Lord who was half a step away from the void-shedding realm was killed half a day ago. Countless subordinate forces of the mysterious Thunder World Lord, including the Heavenly Moon sect, were plundered by the murderer. The murderer was a silver-haired cultivator with a ghostly face. His cultivation base and origin were unknown, but it was said that he was a void-shedding old monster. When the news reached the Thunderfall world, the 3 human profound realm old ancestors of the pure lightning sect were so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell off. They would never have imagined that Ning Fan possessed such terrifying strength that he could directly kill his way to the mysterious Thunder World and snatch Lu Yan away. The fallen mysterious Thunder World Lord was just a 7th-grade Thunder World after all. Such news was not enough to attract the attention of the 9th-grade Thunder World. The other Thunder Worlds just sighed, but they did not intend to intervene in this matter. The 3,000 Thunder Worlds had their own rules. No one would care about the private affairs of the mysterious Thunder World. Ning Fan left the mysterious Thunder World and temporarily settled down in a nearby 5th-grade Thunder World. The 5th-grade Thunder World, the Heavenly Water World. After arriving at this place, Ning Fan randomly found a barren mountain and opened up a cave abode. After eliminating the subordinates of the mysterious Thunder World Lord, Ning Fan had obtained a lot of spoils of war. However, it was not his original intention. His original intention was just to snatch Lu Yan back. Lu Yan was the spirit of the Red Jade Star Plate. If he wants to go to the true lightning world, she was indispensable. Currently, Ning Fan was rich. Among the spoils of war, there were only a few types of secret techniques of the Tao of Lightning that could slightly move his heart. He did not plan to count the spoils of war for the time being. With a thought, he released Lu Yan from the profound Yin world. "Senior, are we safe now?" Lu Yan's face was abnormally red. She was slightly panting and her voice was intermittent. "Don't worry. The mysterious Thunder World Lord and his disciple have already died in my hands. You won't be in any trouble anymore." Ning Fan said indifferently. "Thank Senior for saving my life." Lu Yan bowed gracefully. She tried her best to hold back the seductive look in her eyes as she did not want Ning Fan to notice her current embarrassment. Currently, the medicinal power of the aphrodisiac was still wreaking havoc in her body. That aphrodisiac was extremely powerful. Even with her cultivation base at the 4th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, she could not suppress it at all. But even if she was drugged, she still had to restrain the effects of the drug. Master had said that she couldn't be rude in front of a senior expert. From Lu Yan's point of view, since Ning Fan was able to kill the mysterious Thunder Realm Lord, he was most likely an old monster at the Shedding Void Realm. He was a senior expert whom she would never be able to reach in her lifetime. In front of Ning Fan, she must not lose her manners. Are you under the influence of an aphrodisiac?" Ning Fan looked at Lu Yan with a strange expression. Yes. Lu Yan's voice was as soft as a mosquito. After all, she was still a woman. It was difficult for her to speak of such matters. She lowered her head in embarrassment. Her black hair was like a waterfall, covering her delicate red cheeks. Her breasts were heaving up and down, and her breathing was a little hurried. Let me help you detoxify. Ning Fan's indifferent words entered Lu Yan's ears. Her face immediately turned pale. She bit her lips bitterly and begged in a low voice. No. No need. This poison is not a problem. A powerful aphrodisiac was usually incurable. The only way to detoxify it was to have intercourse with a man and a woman. In Lu Yan's point of view, the detoxification Ning Fan mentioned was referring to doing that kind of thing to her. She had an indescribable sense of intimacy towards Ning Fan, but it was not the feeling between a man and a woman. She couldn't bear to be plucked by Ning Fan and have sex with him. Including this time, she had only met Ning Fan twice. She didn't know Ning Fan's identity, appearance or cultivation base. She didn't know anything about Ning Fan. How could she recklessly agree to do that kind of thing with a stranger? The aphrodisiac in you is a little tricky. If it isn't detoxified, you will certainly burn to death within 3 days. Are you sure you don't want me to detoxify it for you? Ning Fan looked at Lu Yan with a faint smile. No. I really don't need it. Thank you for your kindness, senior. Lu Yan blushed and refused in a low voice. That won't do. You are my weapon spirit. I can't watch you die from the poison. Unknowingly, Ning Fan suddenly had the intention to tease this girl who would rather die than give up her purity. He walked towards Lu Yan step by step. She immediately retreated like a frightened deer, until she reached the wall. There was no other way to retreat. No, don't. She closed her eyes in despair. Her long eyelashes were stained with tears. It was obviously a refusal, but under the influence of the aphrodisiac, her voice was as soft as a kitten's. Her heart was beating so fast that it almost jumped out of her throat. She had an ignorant fear that she would be robbed by the man in front of her. The cultivation world was really cruel. Without strength, it was really hard to live a clean life. Don't worry, I'm not interested in your body. With my cultivation base of the bewitching art, I don't need intercourse to cure the aphrodisiac. Ning Fan sighed slightly and stopped teasing Lu Yan. With the mind-reading art, he could see through all the worries in Lu Yan's heart. In his eyes, Lu Yan was just a weapon spirit. He didn't have any other thoughts, nor would he have any. Lu Yan couldn't help but feel a little ashamed when Ning Fan saw through her thoughts. She blinked her eyes at Ning Fan and smiled apologetically. She seemed to have the heart of a villain. Have a good sleep. Everything will be fine when you wake up. Ning Fan didn't say anything else and revealed his demon eyes. Immediately, countless purple rays flew out from his eyes and swept across Lu Yan. The moment she was swept by the purple rays, Lu Yan's body went numb, and she fainted on the ground. The aphrodisiac in her body was instantly eliminated by the purple rays. This purple ray was the third divine ability that Ning Fan had cultivated after the plucking finger and imprisoning seal lock, chaotic world purple ray. This divine ability could not only subdue a woman, but also remove the aphrodisiac in her body. Seeing that Lu Yan had fallen asleep and her breathing was even, Ning Fan flicked his finger, and a stone bed immediately appeared in the cave. With a flick of his sleeve, a gust of wind swept Lu Yan onto the stone bed. After doing all this, Ning Fan's eyes slightly focused and walked out of the cave. Ever since he left the profound Thunderworld, Ning Fan had a feeling that he was being followed. The tracker's cultivation base was very strange. She didn't reveal any chi of her cultivation base, but she gave Ning Fan a strange sense of danger. The strangest thing was that the tracker didn't seem to have any hostility towards him. Occasionally, she would purposely laugh a few times to let Ning Fan sense her presence. What was the tracker's purpose and what was her scheme? Your Excellency has been following me all the way here. Are you still not going to show yourself? Ning Fan's eyes flickered with green light and looked at a cluster of flowers outside the cave. He was very sure that the tracker was hiding in the cluster of flowers. Huh. I'm not the only one following you. Is there another one called Your Excellency? Suddenly, a clear and melodious voice sounded out from the cluster of flowers. In the next instant, a barefooted silver-haired little Lolita hopped and appeared, and she was humming an indescribable ballad. Where is the one called Your Excellency hiding? Ayaya, you actually managed to hide from my senses. Not bad. You should know that even Xiao Qingqing, who's the best in stealth, couldn't hide from my senses. With a swoosh, The little Lolita scurried up the tree like a little monkey. She looked left and right, but still couldn't find anyone hiding in this place. Instead, she conveniently plucked a wild fruit from the tree. With a step, she turned into a ray of lightning and appeared behind Ningfan in an instant. She was munching on the wild fruit and giggling. Her strange speed made Ningfan feel a chill down his spine. If it wasn't because he sensed that the little Lolita didn't have any malicious intent, Ningfan would have launched an attack behind him. He turned around and carefully studied the little Lolita in front of him. Ningfan had pushed the state of the unity of heaven and man to the extreme. Sensing at such a close distance, Ningfan gradually realized that there were too many unimaginable things about the little Lolita. She didn't have any chi of cultivation base, but the sense of danger Ningfan felt was no less than that of an intermediate shedding void old monster. There was no cultivation base in the little Lolita's body, but with just a thought, she could burst out lightning and form a divine ability. What kind of creature was she? Thunder spirit? Thunder demon? No, she wasn't. She was just a human girl with flesh and blood. This little Lolita seemed to have a lot of secrets. Moreover, this little Lolita gave Ningfan a sense of déjà vu. But it seemed like it was just an illusion. Ningfan secretly activated the mind-reading technique, but he couldn't pry into the little Lolita's thoughts. He could only hear the incessant sound of thunder from the little Lolita's heart. Humph! Brother Ghostface, you lied to me. There's no one hiding here. The little Lolita said angrily after double-checking. After eating a wild fruit in a few mouthfuls, the little Lolita's stomach suddenly rumbled. She was hungry. Her hunger couldn't be satisfied by ordinary food. Once this feeling of hunger appeared, the little Loli suddenly fell to the ground. Her small face was filled with pain, and her pale and terrifying face was pale. Her fleshy body, on the other hand, began to turn into spots of lightning, showing signs of collapsing and dissipating. This is 9 Revolution Lightning Body. Ningfan's eyes changed. The 9 Revolution Lightning Body was a special physique that allowed one to innately control lightning. Cultivators who possessed this type of body were all experts in the Tao of lightning. This type of body could evolve 9 times in total. Each time it evolved, the lightning body would have 1 more revolution, greatly improving the cultivator's strength. However, during each evolution, the owner of the lightning body would have their primordial spirit fused with their body, temporarily losing all their cultivation base, and could only exert a limited amount of lightning abilities. There were also cultivators who temporarily lost part of their memories during the evolution of the lightning body. Ningfan's eyes focused. The little Lolita in front of him was undoubtedly an owner of the 9 Revolution Lightning Body. She should be in the process of evolving the lightning body and temporarily lost all her cultivation base, because she didn't replenish her lightning power in time during the evolution of the lightning body. The evolution of the little Lolita's lightning body was on the verge of failure. Once the evolution failed, the lightning body would collapse and she would die completely. Most of the owners of the 9 Revolution Lightning Body died from the failure of the lightning body evolution. This little Lolita is probably going to die from the failure of the evolution. Ningfan's eyes flickered. He was thinking about which force this little Lolita belonged to. No matter what, she should be an old monster who possessed the strength of the mid-shedding void realm. Why would she run around outside at such a critical moment of the lightning body evolution without anyone to protect her and provide her with lightning power? Should I watch her die here? Or should I save her? Ningfan pondered for a while and finally made a decision. Before the little Lolita's physical body was about to collapse, he extracted some lightning power from the lightning diagram and injected it into her body. He could naturally be cold-blooded and merciless when facing his enemies. However, this little Lolita didn't seem to have any hostility towards him. This girl has been following me all the way here. Don't tell me she smelled the lightning chi on my body. Ningfan was slightly speechless. His guess was already close to the truth. The lightning power in the lightning diagram was obtained by killing the innate lightning spirit, and its power was pure. As soon as the lightning power entered her body, the little Lolita immediately felt warm. The painful expression on her face immediately turned into a beautiful smile. She burped comfortably and lied down on the ground. Falling asleep lazily, she was sleeping soundly. Her silky silver hair casually hung beside her ears without any vigilance. Under such circumstances, Ning Fan only needed to make a move, and he would be able to kill this girl. Was this girl really a shedding void old monster before her lightning body evolved? Or did she lose part of her memories due to the evolution of her lightning body? That's why she was so careless when facing other cultivators. Ning Fan frowned. Ning Fan knitted his brows. He had no enmity with this lady. Thus, he naturally would not kill her while she was sleeping. However, it was also impossible for him to provide lightning power to this girl to evolve her lightning body. They had met by chance. It was already a grace for him to save her once. He didn't have the obligation to continue taking care of her. After thinking for a while, Ning Fan squatted down and carried the little Lolita. He placed her on the stone bed in the cave, and left with Lu Yen, who was still asleep. I'll let the little Lolita sleep on her own. When she wakes up and gets hungry, she will find her own home. Ning Fan summoned the Blood Lotus spirit equipment that he hadn't used for a long time, and left the heavenly water world. He stood on the Blood Lotus with his hands clasped behind his back. Lu Yen was breathing evenly beside him, sleeping soundly. After an unknown period of time, Lu Yen woke up. Seeing that the aphrodisiac in her body was gone, Lu Yan's face turned pale, and she immediately checked her body. When she found that her primordial yin was still intact, she revealed a look of shame. It seemed like she was judging Ning Fan again. Thank you, Senior, for helping me get rid of the aphrodisiac. Lu Yen lowered her head and thanked him in a low voice. You are my tool spirit. I will naturally save you. You don't have to thank me anymore in the future. Ning Fan said indifferently. Tool spirit. Sure enough, those scenes weren't fake. Lu Yen sighed softly. Ever since she met Ning Fan for the first time, some scenes kept popping up in her mind. In those scenes, she was the tool spirit of an astrolabe. She initially thought that those scenes were fake, but Ning Fan repeatedly mentioned the word tool spirit, which was enough to prove that those scenes were real. She wasn't stupid. She immediately guessed that the reason why Ning Fan went to Heavenly Moon Sect to save her was not because of her beauty, but because of her identity as a tool spirit. Moreover, she could also see that although Ning Fan didn't covet her body, he needed her to do something for him. Before achieving his goal, Ning Fan wasn't prepared to let her go. Senior, do you need me to do something as a tool spirit? Lu Yen asked cautiously. Yes. Can I regain my freedom after I complete this task? Yes, but before I complete this task, you must stay by my side to avoid any unforeseen events. You can have this item. Use the power of the tool spirit in your body to nourish this treasure. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch, took out the scarlet jade astrolabe, and handed it to Lu Yen. Lu Yan's beautiful eyes immediately went blank. In those broken scenes, she was once the tool spirit of this astrolabe. This astrolabe must be infused with the power of the tool spirit in order to guide it. There were two ways to infuse the power of the tool spirit. One was to kill Lu Yen and use her soul to refine the astrolabe. Although this method was cruel, it was fast. It would only take a few days for the power of the tool spirit to be infused into the astrolabe. The other method was to let Lu Yen take the initiative to nourish the astrolabe with the power of the tool spirit. This method wouldn't cause too much damage to Lu Yen, but the speed of infusing the tool spirit would be very slow. It would probably take her at least 10 years to succeed. Thank you for sparing my life, Senior. Lu Yen naturally knew about the two methods of infusing the tool spirit. She felt a little grateful to Ning Fan for choosing the second method. Your master had begged me not to kill you if it's possible. Anyway, I'm not in a hurry to go to that place. Therefore, it's not necessary for me to kill you as a sacrifice. As long as you can complete the task of attaining the spirit of the astrolabe within 10 years. After that, you can regain your freedom. I won't stop you from going wherever you want to go. I have no way to repay Senior for saving my life. I will certainly do my best for the task of attaining the spirit of the astrolabe. However, I have a small request. Can Senior send me back to the White Thunder Sect first? What do you want to do in the White Thunder Sect? Ning Fan asked with a frown. I was kidnapped by Yujizi. My master must be very worried. I want to go back to the White Thunder Sect to see her. After that, I'm willing to follow Senior and help you nourish the astrolabe. Lu Yen pleaded. Are you going back to the White Thunder sect just to see your master? Yes. Ning Fan remained silent for a long time, and finally said in an indifferent tone. Your master Su Yenzong has already passed away. And master, he really. Lu Yen lowered her eyes sadly. Her eyes were glistening with tears. She already knew that her master was approaching the returning void. She also understood that her master allowed Yujizi to kidnap her because he was powerless to save her. However, she had never expected that her master had already passed away. She did not think that Ning Fan would lie to her. There was no need for him to lie to her about such a matter. Without her master, the cold and detached White Thunder sect would no longer be her home, and she would no longer have any attachment to the sect. However, she still wanted to go back and have a look, even if it's just to pay her respects in front of her master's grave. Do you want to go back and pay your respects to your master? Ning Fan asked indifferently. Huh. Lu Yen was slightly stunned. Before she could react, Ning Fan had already changed the direction of the Blood Lotus and brought her back to the Thunderfall world, returning to the White Thunder sect. The moment Ning Fan arrived at the White Thunder sect, the entire sect was in a state of panic. The three human Profound Realm old ancestors welcomed Ning Fan with fear and trepidation. They were afraid that they would offend this peerless ominous star if they showed any disrespect. We didn't know that Senior is a void-shedding cultivator. Please forgive us if we have offended you in the past. It's all right. You may leave now. I will only stay here for a while, and I will leave soon. Yes. The cultivators of the White Thunder sect were dismissed by Ning Fan. He waited outside the stone chamber alone while Lu Yen stayed inside to pay her respects to her master's grave. After an unknown period of time, Lu Yen wiped away her tears and walked out. She no longer had any attachment to the White Thunder sect. She smiled at Ning Fan gratefully. Thank you for giving me the chance to pay my respects to my master, Senior. From today onwards, I have no home to return to. Please allow me to follow you. Ning Fan nodded his head. He flicked his sleeve and left with Lu Yen. It would take at least 10 years for the Scarlet Jade Star Plate to fuse with the power of the artifact spirit. During these 10 years, Ning Fan could not go to the true lightning world for the time being. Hence, he could do something else. He wanted to cultivate the divine force art. Ning Fan left the 3000 Thunder Realm at full speed and flew towards the Demon Slaughter planet outside the lightning region. His goal was to pass through the realm gate of the Demon Ruler sect and arrive at the Savage Battlefield. He wanted to borrow the endless battle intent there to cultivate the War God art. The effect of cultivating the War God art there was much better than cultivating at the Broken Halberd Mountain of the Luo clan, the Demon Ruler sect of the Demon Slaughter planet. In the forbidden area of the Realm Gate, the cultivators of the Eastern Heaven who wanted to go to the Savage Battlefield were being strictly inspected by the Demon Ruler sect. Not everyone could enter the Savage Battlefield as they wish with the Expedition token. It was extremely difficult for ordinary cultivators to enter the Savage Battlefield when it was not the time of the war between realms. They must have the passage token issued by the Four Fish sect. Not everyone could enter the Savage Battlefield at any time just because they have the passage token. To ordinary cultivators, the Realm Gate would only open once every 10 years. Besides, if they could not pass the strength assessment of the Demon Ruler sect, they would not be able to enter the Savage Battlefield. If they wanted to enter the Savage Battlefield when it was not the time of the war between realms, they would at least need to withstand the attacks of rogue immortals for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Coincidentally, the time for the next opening of the Realm Gate was approaching. In the Forbidden Area, there were hundreds of cultivators who were taking the test. Among them, there were more than 20 life immortals and 2 true immortals of the True Crossing realm. Naturally, these second-step cultivators did not need to take the test. The rest of the cultivators were at the Void Fragmentation realm. They were taking turns to take the test of the rogue immortals of the Demon Ruler sect. There were Void Fragmentation realm cultivators who failed, and there were also cultivators who passed the test. The person who presided over the test was the Tao Child of the Demon Ruler sect, Qizhen. The Demon Ruler sect, Qizhen. This person had once participated in the disciple recruitment ceremony of the Slaughter Palace with Ning Fan. That year, his cultivation base was still at the mid-human profound realm. After a few decades, he had already broken through to the late human profound realm. Such a cultivation speed was naturally unheard of, and it caused many old monsters to be shocked. However, Qijin never felt complacent. On the contrary, he was very dissatisfied with his cultivation speed. In the past, he had yet to step into the second step while I was at the mid-human profound realm. Now, I have just broken through to the late human profound realm while he is already the reign immortal monarch whose name shook the entire eastern heaven. Ning Fan. I will never be able to surpass him in my entire life. Qijun sighed softly. All of a sudden, his eyes turned serious and he looked outside the forbidden area. Outside the forbidden area, a man and a woman were rushing towards them. Judging from the situation, they were going to enter the realm gate directly. Stop right there. Qijun leaped and stood in front of them. His eyes were filled with curiosity as he scanned the two of them. The female cultivator was only at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was obvious that she was not qualified to enter the realm gate. As for the male cultivator, his face was covered with a ghost mask. His chi was extremely obscure. Qijun could not see through his cultivation base at all. Oh, it's him? Ning Fan's eyes glanced at Qijun and felt slightly surprised. However, he did not say a word. He just patted his storage pouch and took out a token, showing it to Qijun. As soon as he saw the token, Qijun's expression immediately changed and he cried out involuntarily. The Battle Expedition Order. The Battle Expedition Order that only 4th grade heavenly supervisors can possess. Qijun was not the only one. Everyone who heard the words Battle Expedition Order looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. In the 4 heavens, all the cultivators who were qualified to possess the Battle Expedition Order were old monsters at the Eternal Ancient Realm. Countless cultivators were secretly guessing. Could Ning Fan be an Eternal Ancient Monster? Or is he the descendant of some Eternal Ancient Monster? I want to enter the savage battlefield. Ning Fan said with a hoarse voice. His voice was obviously fake. Yes. Since Senior has the Battle Expedition Order, you don't have to wait here. You can freely enter the savage battlefield. This junior will immediately open the realm gate for Senior. Qijun's face was filled with excitement. He felt extremely honored to be able to exchange a few words with an old monster, who was suspected to be at the Eternal Ancient Realm. If he knew that the man with the ghost mask in front of him was not an Eternal Ancient Monster, but a former opponent of his, he would probably feel very complicated. As Qijun took out the formation compass and formed a formation incantation, the seal on the realm gate immediately showed signs of loosening. Ning Fan directly entered the savage battlefield with Lu Yan. However, he did not notice that at the moment he entered the savage battlefield, there was actually a little tail following behind him. Ah! I'm so hungry. Big brother, wait for me. I haven't eaten my fill yet. A silver-haired little Lolita, who had concealed her figure, pestered them relentlessly. Before the realm gate was sealed again, she quietly followed them into the realm gate. The 10th grade Thunder World, Extreme Thunder World. In the Extreme Thunder World, black lightning constantly streaked across the vast sky, heading straight for the Extreme Thunder Palace. Along the way, deafening thunderclaps resounded continuously. Those were the sounds produced by the Black Lightning Chariot. It was a high-grade thunder chariot. Those who were qualified to ride on it were only Shikong and Thought Fragmentation Realm old monsters. Other than the Black Lightning Chariot, there were 4 other 6-colored lightning chariots which hurriedly returned to the Extreme Thunder Palace. Only Eternal Ancient Realm old monsters were qualified to ride on a 6-colored lightning chariot. As soon as the 4 6-colored lightning chariots landed, an extremely beautiful woman with silver hair walked out from each of them, and hurriedly entered the Extreme Thunder Palace. All of them were Eternal Ancient Immortal Venerables. These 4 women were the 4 Immortal Venerables guardians of the Extreme Thunder Palace, Yulu and Qinglan. The 4 Immortal Venerables were Venerables Qianyue, Venerables Yulu, Venerables Qingxiao and Venerables Rolan. Damn it! Haven't you found the Palace Lord's whereabouts yet? A bunch of trash. As soon as they entered the extreme Thunder Palace, Venerable's Qianyue immediately flew into a rage at the cultivators of the Thunder World. Her temper was famous for being hot-tempered. I've already said that we should just imprison the Palace Lord. Without the suppression of the Thunder King seal, it will be very dangerous for the Palace Lord's Thunder body to evolve to the 9th revolution. Once she escapes to the outside world, the consequences will be unimaginable. This time, we must capture the Palace Lord and imprison her under the Thunder Mountain. Venerable's Qing Xiao frowned. Sob, sob, sob. The Palace Lord and I are like sisters. If she doesn't have enough lightning power and dies outside, I don't want to live anymore. 3 feet of white silk will die for you. I want to die with her. Venerable's Roland's voice was so soft that it gave people goosebumps. Venerable's Yulu, who always liked to talk, was uncharacteristically silent today. She was hugging a crystal with rolling-in lightning in it. Sob, sob, sob. Sister Yulu, why aren't you saying anything? Venerable's Roland asked in a coquettish voice. I'm checking the Palace Lord's position. Although the Palace Lord knows how to conceal her aura and her appearance has changed greatly, I could still vaguely sense a trace of the Palace Lord's aura in the 3000 Thunder Realm. But now, I can't sense anything at all. Could it be? Speaking of this, Venerable's Yulu's forehead was filled with black lines. Her expression was both helpless and solemn. The other 3 immortal Venerables also revealed different degrees of shock. Could the Palace Lord have run out of the 3000 Thunder Realm? Not good. This time, things had gotten out of hand. Once the Palace Lord ran out of the 3000 Thunder Realm, they were afraid that it would be very difficult to find her. Once the Palace Lord couldn't replenish her lightning power in time, she would most likely die from the backlash of the Thunder body. They were all missing the palace treasure of the Extreme Thunder Palace, the Thunder King seal. With the Thunder King seal, there wouldn't be any risk in the evolution of the Thunder body. Damn it! Pass down my order. All the void-shedding cultivators in the Thunder World above Grade 8 are to be mobilized. We must find the Palace Lord in the entire Eastern Heaven. If anything happens to the Palace Lord, I want all of you to be buried with her. Appearance unknown. Whereabouts uncertain. Divine ability strange. Could this person really be found? Chapter 858. The Savage Battlefield was also known as the Ancient Wild Domain. It was a world that was even more ancient than the 4 heavens and 9 worlds. Each of the 4 heavens had a portal that allowed one to enter this ancient domain. The land of demon spirit in the upper world also had a portal that allowed one to enter this place. Since ancient times, the cultivators of the 4 heavens had already engaged in more than 400 world wars with the demon race of the upper world. Every time a world war broke out, countless cultivators and demons would be buried here. Every blade of grass and every tree contained the battle intent of the ancient cultivators that would never dissipate. It was easy to enter the savage battlefield as one just needed to pass through the portal. However, it was not easy to leave the savage battlefield. The portals that led to the exit would only appear once every 10 years in each of the domains. Therefore, even if one had the battle order, they could not leave at any time. The savage battlefield was divided into 42 savage domains. Among them, the demon race occupied 7 savage domains while the cultivators of the 4 heavens occupied 5 savage domains. As for the remaining savage domains, they were considered unoccupied regions with countless ancient savage beasts. As soon as Ningfan entered the portal, he and Lu Yen were teleported to the Gaochen savage domain, which was one of the 5 domains of the human race. The Gaochen savage domain was once occupied by the demon race. However, during a world war a few million years ago, the cultivators of the 4 heavens occupied this domain. What entered Ningfan's sight was a blood-red continent that was filled with sandstorms. Under the dust, the remains of ancient cultivators and broken weapons could be seen everywhere. A desolate battle intent spread across his face. Ningfan did not know which savage domain he was teleported to by the portal. As Ningfan made a series of hand seals with his 10 fingers, a drizzle immediately fell from heaven and earth and dispersed into the distance. Ever since he attained the first round of the 5 spirits, the range of his heaven-prying rain technique's perception had increased once again. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, his spirit sense range could directly cover an entire mid-grade star domain. However, such a wide range of spirit sense could only cover a corner of the Gauchan Savage domain. One had to admit that the entire ancient wild domain was very big. In this corner of the domain, Ning Fan sensed a total of 45 cities. Half of them were destroyed by the flames of war, and had already become ruins. As for the other cities, there were more or less cultivators stationed there. The time when Ning Fan entered the ancient wilderness domain was not the period of the Realm War. Nowadays, large-scale battles between the divine race and the demon race rarely broke out in the ancient wilderness domain. Lu Yan's cultivation base was merely at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. She had never participated in a world war before. She had also never entered the ancient desolate domain before. When she first entered this place, she was naturally shocked by the vast battle intent in the air. She did not know why Ning Fan had the expedition order, and why he came to the ancient wild domain. However, she did not ask any of these questions. Let's find a city of cultivators to gather some information about the ancient wild desolate region. A few demons have invaded a city in the north. Ning Fan withdrew his rain technique. After remaining silent for a while, he suddenly rolled up his sleeves and turned into a golden ray of light together with Lu Yan. They flew towards the city that was being invaded by the demon race. The Mulan city was a cultivation city located at the border of the Gauchan barbarian domain. There were only a few thousand cultivators guarding the city. Most of them were at the nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm. There were only slightly more than 20 void refinement realm cultivators and 5 void fragmentation realm cultivators. All of them were permanent residents of the barbarian region. They were different from the foreign cultivators. This was a small city. It was just a temporary resting place for the experts of the four heavens during the World War. There were no powerful cultivators guarding the city. The city lord of this city was just a rogue immortal. However, the grand formation of the city was destroyed half an hour ago. The rogue immortal city lord was also killed by the demon cultivators. There were only 4 demon cultivators who attacked the Milan city. However, all of them were rogue demons. The leader of the group was a burly rogue demon who was only half a step away from the mortal profound realm. With the death of the Milan city lord, who else in this city can be our opponent? Kill, kill, kill. This old man loves to torture and kill humans the most. A bull-headed burly man with eyes as large as copper bells sneered incessantly. He was rampaging in the Milan city. Every time he made a move, a large number of low-level cultivators would fall. A void fragmentation realm human tried to stop the bull-headed demon from continuing his slaughter, but he was swallowed whole by the bull-headed demon. Humph! Brother Bull, don't kill all the female cultivators in this city. This old man still wants to keep a few to play with. A male snake demon immediately snorted in dissatisfaction when he saw the bull-headed demon slaughtering without restraint. He was also one of the 4 demons who attacked the city. It was only a matter of time for the 4 rogue demons to slaughter this small city. The remaining 4 void fragmentation realm cultivators in the city revealed a look of despair. During the World War, there were often small border cities that were invaded by demons. With the strength of this city, they were afraid that they would be completely annihilated before the reinforcements sent by the 4 heavens sect arrived. Is there no escape? A beautiful woman with the highest cultivation base among the 4 void fragmentation realm cultivators smiled bitterly. On the opposite side, the male snake demon had already discovered her, and was flying towards her with an evil smile. With her cultivation base at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, it would be difficult for her to escape humiliation if she fell into the hands of this demon. Instead of becoming a human cauldron, it's better to die in battle and preserve my innocence. The beautiful woman's eyes suddenly revealed a fearless expression. The same expression was also seen in the eyes of countless cultivators who were guarding the city. In the cultivation world, not every cultivator was afraid of death. In this ancient desolate domain, countless cultivators who had been wandering between life and death all year round were not afraid of death. The reason why the battle intent in this ancient desolate domain was so strong was because there were too many cultivators who would rather die than submit. Ignite! At this moment, the beautiful woman suddenly shouted and ignited her primordial spirit. In the city, countless cultivators also ignited their primordial spirits at this moment. A bunch of lunatics, including the male snake demon, the 4 rogue demons immediately revealed a gloomy expression. In theory, it was very difficult for a 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator, and thousands of spirit severing realm cultivators to hurt a rogue demon. However, if they were to fight to the death, they might be able to cause some injuries to the 4 rogue demons. The male snake demon also did not plan to capture the human cauldron. At this moment, he only planned to kill all the cultivators in this city in the shortest time possible to avoid any unexpected changes. The 4 rogue demons were prepared to go all out. Countless cultivators in the city were also prepared to fight to the death. However, at this moment, the sky suddenly became densely covered with dark clouds. Torrential rain poured down and lightning flashed across the sky. In the midst of the thunderstorm, a golden light suddenly flashed above the city. A man and a woman appeared. The woman had a 4th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base. There was no doubt that she was a human. As for the man, he wore a ghost mask and his silver hair fluttered in the wind. However, the silver-haired man waved his hand, and the primordial spirit flames of countless cultivators who ignited their primordial spirits were extinguished. In an instant, the entire Milan city was filled with the sound of people sucking in cold air. A second-step cultivator. Only a second-step cultivator can easily extinguish the primordial spirit flames of a first-step cultivator with their great divine ability. The beautiful woman's despairing eyes suddenly had a glimmer of hope. At this moment, the 4 rogue demons revealed a terrified expression. Not good. A second-step old monster of the human race has arrived. Run quickly. The 4 rogue demons did not say anything and immediately turned into streaks of light and fled. The silver-haired man waved his hand, and the rain intent swept across. The 4 rogue demons immediately let out a blood-curdling scream as their bodies dissolved into a pool of blood. With a wave of his palm, the 4 demon souls immediately fell into Ningfan's hand. Without saying anything, he began to search their souls and memories. Then he raised his hand and crushed the 4 demon souls. These 4 demon souls were useless as they were not primordial spirits. They could not be used to cast the spirit bombarding technique. The moment the 4 demon souls fell, the token of Ningfan's immortal guard flickered with a faint light. That was the sign of increasing battle achievements. With more battle achievements, one's immortal rank would gradually increase. Perhaps one day Ningfan's 8th grade immortal guard would be promoted to 7th grade deacon. I have obtained a lot of information about the ancient domain from the memories of these 4 demons. Ningfan muttered to himself. The reason why he killed these demons was not because he was close to the human race or hated the demon race. He just admired the cultivators of this city and hated the 4 rogue demons. Compared to the experts who killed for fun, he preferred the weak who would rather die than submit. The remnant souls of the fallen cultivators faded away little by little, unable to enter the reincarnation cycle. The ancient desolate domain was an ancient world that was outside the reincarnation cycle. Even first-step cultivators would not be able to enter the reincarnation cycle if they died here. It's a pity to let these unyielding remnant souls dissipate. The heavenly Tao reincarnation cycle won't accept you. I will. Ningfan waved his sleeve. The power of the remnant souls in heaven and earth immediately flew into his sleeve. Ordinary cultivators could not see the remnant souls. Naturally, they would not understand what Ningfan was doing. No one knew that Ningfan's hand was hidden in his sleeve. He summoned the Fuli spirit wheel, and kept these unyielding remnant souls into the spirit wheel. The unyielding remnant will of these remnant souls could slowly increase the grade of the Fuli spirit wheel. As for the Fuli spirit wheel, it could construct the reincarnation cycle, and keep their remnant souls. Not only the remnant souls of the demon race could enter the Fuli spirit wheel. With Ningfan's identity as a cultivator of 3 races, the human race could also enter it. If one day, Ningfan's spirit wheel reaches grand completion, he could bestow new life to these remnant souls like immortal sovereign Zido. Thank you for saving our lives, Senior. May I ask if Senior is a cultivator from the 4C sect who came to help us? The beautiful woman led the other 3 void fragmentation realm experts forward and greeted Ningfan respectfully. No. Senior is a foreign cultivator who is passing by. The beautiful woman was slightly surprised. Yes. This is my first time entering the desolate ancient region. I want to rest in this city and obtain some information about the ancient desolate ancient region. Can you tell me some information about the ancient region? Ningfan asked politely. When they heard that Ningfan actually wanted to rest in the Milan city temporarily, the beautiful woman and the others were overjoyed. In recent days, the Milan city and other border cities were often attacked by small-scale demons. With Ningfan guarding the city, the Milan city would be as stable as Mount Tai. Of course. Ningfan's request was readily accepted by the beautiful woman and the others. Each of them took out a jade slip and recorded all the memories about the ancient desolate ancient region in their minds. Then they handed it to Ningfan. Ningfan received the jade slip and glanced at it indifferently. Then he kept it and asked, "Do you have a complete map of the ancient desolate ancient region?" To be honest with Senior, the terrain of the ancient desolate ancient region will change every few hundred years. A few of the ancient desolate ancient region will even change their positions. We only have ancient maps from tens of thousands of years ago. The geographical records of the ancient desolate ancient region are very inaccurate. It's fine. Give me a copy. Yes. The beautiful woman took out another jade slip and recorded the map of the ancient desolate ancient region in it. Then, she respectfully handed it to Ningfan. Ningfan nodded with satisfaction. Then he brought Lu Yen into the city and opened up a cave dwelling on a small mountain in the north of the city. Lu Yen stayed in the cave dwelling at the side, wholeheartedly harmonizing her spirit with the red jade astrolabe. Ningfan stayed in his cave dwelling, sorting out the information about the ancient desolate ancient region. Gradually, he had a preliminary understanding of the ancient desolate ancient region. There were 42 regions in the ancient desolate ancient region. 7 of them were occupied by demons, 5 of them were occupied by the 4 heavens. The remaining 30 barbarian regions were unoccupied regions where the savage beasts ran rampant. Savage beasts were the native creatures of the ancient desolate ancient region. They were neither human nor demon nor devil. Savage beasts in human form couldn't cultivate for the rest of their lives. They were as weak as mortals. They built cities and lived there, struggling at death's door in the ancient desolate ancient region. They were called barbarians. If a barbarian turned into a beast, he would lose all his memories and turn into a powerful savage beast. He wouldn't recognize anyone and would kill like a devil. During the non-World War period, the divine race and the demon race would rarely send experts above the void abandonment realm to participate in the war. Even Life Immortal and Dujun were rarely dispatched. However, small-scale battles like the one in Milan City were not rare. The battle intent in the Gochun barbarian region was extremely strong. It was almost 10 times stronger than the Broken Halberd Peak. However, this wasn't the place with the strongest battle intent in the ancient desolate ancient region. The unoccupied barbarian regions had the strongest battle intent. Once a world war breaks out, these unoccupied barbarian regions would be used as battlefields by the divine race and the demon race. Large-scale battles would usually take place in these regions. In other words, the best place to cultivate the war god art isn't the Gochun barbarian region. Forget it. Let's try to condense the fierce origin crystals here first. Ningfan couldn't help but look forward to it. The reason why he came back to the ancient desolate ancient region to cultivate the war god art was because he had modified the cultivation method of the war god art. In the past, the war god art required him to use the crystal condensation technique to condense the battle crystals. The crystal condensation technique of the war god art that was modified by Ningfan was replaced by the fierce origin technique. The fierce origin technique was the ultimate technique of the ancient fierce origin sect. It was created by the master of ancient chaos, Great Saint Lu Yuan. This technique could condense Tao laws into fierce origin crystals. It was used by ancient chaos to cultivate the 27 yin yang. This crystal condensation technique was countless times stronger than the crystal condensation technique of the war god art. The energy contained in the fierce origin crystals was also countless times stronger than the battle crystals. After Ningfan cultivated the first transformation of the war god art, he could already use the crystal condensation technique of the war god art to condense low-grade battle crystals. However, it was extremely difficult to condense mid-grade battle crystals. With the fierce origin technique, Ningfan could barely condense low-grade fierce origin crystals in a place where the battle intent was extremely strong. The battle intent contained in the low-grade fierce origin crystals was almost comparable to the high-grade battle crystals of the Luo family. In the Luo family, there were very few high-grade battle crystals. Only the family head, Luoshi, could condense them. Even Ningfan could not condense them. However, Ningfan found another way and used the fierce origin crystals to replace the battle crystals. It could greatly increase the speed of his cultivation of the war god art. The only problem was that the intensity of the battle intent in the broken halberd peak was not strong enough to condense the Tao laws of battle. Hence, he could not condense fierce origin crystals. That was why Ningfan chose to come to the ancient wild domain to cultivate the war god art. This place should be enough to condense low-grade fierce origin crystals. Ningfan took out a Tao crystal from his storage pouch and casually took one of them. Then he displayed the fierce origin technique. His finger seals of the fierce origin technique were still very rusty. Even though the battle intent in the ancient wild domain was sufficient, it was still difficult for him to condense fierce origin crystals. Failure. 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 The Tao crystals were continuously crushed into powder and scattered on the ground, covering the ground like a layer of lime. Ningfan's journey of creating fierce origin crystals could be said to be bumpy. After 10 days, he actually did not manage to condense a single low-grade fierce origin crystal. Ningfan gradually gained some insights into the usage of the fierce origin technique. On the 11th day, Ningfan finally condensed his first low-grade fierce origin crystal. On the 12th day, Ningfan condensed 3 low-grade fierce origin crystals. On the 13th day, Ningfan condensed 10 low-grade fierce origin crystals. After that, Ningfan could almost condense more than 10 low-grade fierce origin crystals every day. He rarely failed. 3 months later, there was already a small mountain of hundreds of fierce origin crystals in front of Ningfan. Looking at the small mountain of fierce origin crystals, Ningfan smiled satisfyingly. With these low-grade fierce origin crystals as a guarantee, his cultivation speed of the war god art would definitely surpass anyone in the Luo family. Besides, there was another benefit of devouring the fierce origin crystals. The fierce origin crystals that had been infused with battle intent could not only be used to cultivate the war god art, it could also be used to cultivate the yin-yang of battle. This time, Ningfan specially paid a visit to the Luo family before leaving the Eastern Sea. The old ancestors of the Luo family gave him a cultivation method. That cultivation method was a 9-star cultivation method. It was the main cultivation method of the battle king Luo Ho. It was called the Invincible Scripture. It was a cultivation method that focused on cultivating battle intent. It was extremely powerful when combined with the secret technique of the war god art. Instead of devouring the fierce origin crystals to cultivate the war god art, Ningfan first took out the Invincible Scripture and began to comprehend and cultivate it. 3 months later, Ningfan mastered the initial stage of the Invincible Scripture and began to condense the fledgling battle stars. 7 days later, the third divine star of battle intent appeared on his glabella. However, it was still in the fledgling state. Only now did Ningfan begin to devour the fierce origin crystals. The energy contained in low-grade fierce origin crystals was comparable to high-grade battle crystals. Moreover, it was as if there was no limit to the number of crystals he could devour. This was one of the great benefits of cultivating the fierce origin technique. For 3 whole years, Ningfan did not step out of his house and devoured hundreds of low-grade fierce origin crystals. After 3 years of bitter cultivation, there were a total of 102 traces of battle flames in his body. With 99 traces of battle flames, he could cultivate the second transformation of the war god art. The quantity of battle flames in his body was enough for him to cultivate the second transformation. The only thing he lacked was a trace of comprehension and an opportunity. In order to break through to the second transformation of the war god art, he would need a bloody battle in order to comprehend it. In any case, Ningfan was already proud of himself for being able to reach the second transformation within 3 years. Besides, when he almost completed the cultivation of the second transformation, 1,000th of the fledgling battle stars on his glabella had already evolved into yin-yang battle stars. At the same time, 1,000th of the yin-yang battle stars had also been completed. 3 years of bitter cultivation can only increase the progress of the yin-yang battle stars by 1,000th. When I cultivated the rain yin-yang battle technique, I only devoured a piece of fierce origin crystal and successfully cultivated the rain yin-yang battle technique. However, that piece of fierce origin crystal was of the heaven grade. The grades of fierce origin crystals were divided into low grade, mid-grade, high grade, supreme grade. Heaven grade was the non-attributed fierce origin crystal that surpassed the supreme grade. The cultivation speed of a low-grade fierce origin crystal was naturally much slower than a heaven grade fierce origin crystal. Those barbarian regions where the wild beasts roam freely were the main battlefields of the past world wars. The remaining battle intent is much stronger. Perhaps I can condense a mid-grade fierce origin crystal there. A mid-grade fierce origin crystal was extremely beneficial to the cultivation of the war god art and the yin-yang battle technique. Forget it. After breaking through the bottleneck of the second transformation, I will go to the other barbarian regions to find out. What is that sound? Ningfan's expression suddenly changed and he walked out of the cave. At this moment, Lu Yan was so shocked that she walked out of the cave. Countless cultivators in the Mulan city also walked out of their caves in succession. For the past 3 years, Ningfan had been guarding the Mulan city, ensuring that there were no wars and no demons dared to invade the city. But at this moment, there was a large group of powerful Qi with monstrous killing intent approaching from afar. Their target was the Mulan city. Among those powerful Qi, there was no lack of life immortal realm Qi. There was even a Qi that was as strong as an early crossing true realm Qi. The entire Mulan city immediately fell into chaos. Could it be that the demon race had launched a large-scale invasion? It's not the demon race. It's the barbarian beasts. The barbarian beasts are attacking the city. No one knew who was the first to see the true appearance of the barbarian army and exclaimed. For a moment, all the cultivators in the city were shocked. In the Gochin barbarian region, all the barbarian beasts had been killed. It was impossible for such a large group of barbarian beasts to appear. This group of barbarian beasts came from the other barbarian regions. Why did they come all the way to the Mulan city? The beast tide was moving too fast. Unless one was a second-step cultivator, no one could escape from the beast tide. Senior, our Mulan city is about to fall. What should we do? At their wits' end, the beautiful woman and the other void fragmentation realm experts came to Ningfan and asked for help. Although they understood that even if Ningfan was a second-step cultivator, he could only be a life immortal realm expert. It was impossible for him to exterminate a group of barbarian beasts by himself. However, if Ningfan used his teleportation ability and escaped with the group of cultivators in the city, there was a high chance that they could escape from the beast tide. Fight! Ningfan only gave a single word. With a sway of his body, he flew to the north of the Mulan city and stood in front of the beast tide alone. He needed a bloody battle to break through to the second transformation of his battle art. If these barbarian beasts came to seek their deaths, he naturally wouldn't let them go. However, what made Ningfan speechless was that when he stood in front of the beast tide, a silver-haired little loli suddenly appeared in front of the beast tide. Her hands were carrying 7 to 8 wild fruits with lightning power. She was escaping with a smile on her face. Behind her, the beast tide army's eyes were bloodshot. They couldn't wait to tear her into pieces. The reason why these barbarian beasts caused the beast tide was because the holy fruits that they had guarded for many years were stolen by the silver-haired little loli. Not tasty. There's too little lightning power. Brother Food's lightning is still the best. Sigh. I've been looking for brother food in this broken place for so many years. I can only eat wild fruits to fill my stomach every day. I'm so pitiful. Ooh. The pitiful little lowly was actually separated from Ning Fan when she entered the world gate that day. Both of them took different paths. She was the one who chased after Ning Fan into the ancient desolate domain. In the end, she couldn't find Ning Fan. All of a sudden, the silver-haired little lowly revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. In front of her, there was a dilapidated city of cultivators. Outside the city of cultivators was her food brother, whom she had been thinking about day and night. Hee, I finally found you. My brother food. The silver-haired little lowly turned into a ray of lightning with a swoosh and directly crashed into Ning Fan's embrace. Behind her was an army of tens of thousands of barbarian beasts. Why is it you? Ning Fan's forehead was filled with black lines. He actually reunited with this little lowly, who had the 9-revolution lightning physique in the ancient desolate domain. No. This woman must have been following him all the way here. Her goal must be the shattered lightning in his lightning diagram. Chapter 859. Brother Food. Xian has been looking for you for a long time. I finally found you. The little Lolita rubbed herself against Ning Fan's chest excitedly. The smell of lightning power on Ning Fan's body was too fragrant. Ning Fan was speechless. The little Lolita had already confessed everything before he could ask. Sure enough, she had followed him all the way here. Roar. Following a beastly roar that sounded like a command, the black tide of beasts stopped 300 meters away from Ning Fan. Tens of thousands of beasts had blood-red eyes and low spiritual wisdom. Only a few of them had higher cultivation base and had some spiritual wisdom in their eyes. The blood-red eyes of these beasts gave Ning Fan a sense of familiarity, but it didn't feel right. It was like the feeling of tribulation sense, but it was different. Alien cultivator. Hand over this girl, and I will leave you with an intact corpse. Among the beasts, a mountain-sized black-scaled barbaric dragon said coldly. It was the only early Duzhen savage beast among the beasts, and the only one that could speak human language. Its eyes were filled with ferocity, looking at Ning Fan as if he was already a dead man. No matter what, it would never let Ning Fan go. Although the beasts came for the holy fruit, they wouldn't mind killing some aliens along the way. To these beasts, whether it was the cultivators of the four heavens or the demon race, they were all aliens and their enemies. Leave me with an intact corpse? That depends on whether you have the ability to do so. A cold light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He put down the little person in his arms and said indifferently, I will deal with your matter later. Go hide first. Although the silver-haired little Lolita could unleash an intermediate shedding void lightning ability, her combat awareness was too weak. It wouldn't be surprising if she was eaten by a life-immortal savage beast if she was careless. And then, brother food, hurry up. I will find a place to eat some fruits first. Whoosh, the little Lolita turned into a ray of lightning and disappeared from where she stood. She reappeared on the roof of the tallest house in Mulan City, swinging her bare feet and munching on a wild fruit with a smile. The moment the little Lolita left, the beasts started to attack. Countless beasts surrounded Ning Fan like a tidal wave. As for the black-scaled barbaric dragon, it opened its huge mouth and a black-red light condensed into an aurora in its mouth. Along with an ear-piercing sound, the black-red light beam shattered the vast sky in an instant and landed on Ning Fan's body. With Ning Fan as the epicenter, the ground immediately began to crack open on both sides. Destructive waves spread out and countless savage beasts were attacked indiscriminately. Savage beasts were merciless. They could kill their companions without batting an eyelid. Not good. It was brutal flash. Senior. The beautiful lady and the other 3 void fragmentation realm experts immediately panicked. That black and red aurora was known as brutal flash. It was a unique skill of the wild beasts above the true crossing realm, and it had an extremely great destructive power. If a cultivator of the same level as a savage beast was struck by the brutal flash, there was almost no chance of survival. In their opinion, Ning Fan would most likely be killed by the brutal flash. Only Lu Yin knew that Ning Fan would never lose to a mere savage beast. In her memory, Ning Fan was old monster Shikong who could kill the profound Thunder Realm Lord. The black and red aurora was still flowing in the air, and smoke and dust filled the sky. As the wind blew, the smoke and dust dispersed. Ning Fan appeared in his white robes with his silver hair fluttering in the wind. He was unscathed. Beneath the ghost's mask was a pair of cold and merciless eyes. The brutal flash of the true crossing realm savage beast. Sure enough, there's a trace of chi similar to tribulation sense in this brutal flash, but it's also different from tribulation sense. Savage beasts are formed by barbarians. When barbarians turn into beasts, they will lose their memories, become ferocious and will no longer recognize their own kin. This behavior is just like a cultivator who has been controlled by tribulation sense. Savage Desolation Ancient Domain is a world where reincarnation is impossible. Cultivators who die here, regardless of their cultivation base, will be abandoned by reincarnation. What kind of place is this Savage Desolation Ancient Domain? Ning Fan's mind was racing. If it wasn't because he wanted to verify his guess, he wouldn't have taken the attack of the savage dragon. However, with the toughness of his heavenly devil body, he wouldn't suffer any injuries even if he took the attack head-on. Moreover, after taking the attack head-on, he actually gained a lot of insights about the brutal flash. Amidst the gale, Ning Fan formed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers, and displayed the first transformation of the battle art. The power of 102 traces of war fire immediately gathered in his heart and quickly flowed into his body, causing his ancient devil cultivation base to skyrocket. However, due to the suppression of the innate ghost face, the transformation of the war god art didn't turn his silver hair red. Therefore, only a few people could recognize that Ning Fan had displayed the war god art of the Luo clan of the Eastern Heaven. This might be the other strength of the innate ghost face. As soon as the war god art that was close to the second transformation was displayed, Ning Fan's ancient devil cultivation base immediately broke through the second nirvana of the heavenly devil realm, and rose all the way to the peak of the second nirvana of the heavenly devil realm. At this moment, Ning Fan could fight a late true crossing realm expert with just the strength of his physical body. With the cultivation of dual body and law cultivation, Ning Fan could definitely be considered as an expert among the late true crossing realm experts. This was under the precondition that he hadn't unlocked the yin and yang sealing rain. At the end of the day, the brutal flash is a divine ability that is similar to tribulation sense. With my heavenly devil body and the power of the tribulation blood in my body, I should be able to display the brutal flash. A trace of the power of the tribulation blood in his body was activated by Ning Fan. Immediately, a scarlet light of tribulation sense appeared in his eyes. All of a sudden, Ning Fan raised his hand and pointed a finger. Immediately, a black-red aurora burst out from his finger and swept across the surrounding savage beasts. The purity of this aurora was far beyond the level of ordinary savage beasts. Ning Fan possessed the true tribulation blood in his body. His brutal flash was incomparable to the savage beasts. With his peak heavenly devil second nirvana realm physical body, the power of the brutal flash was enough to shock any late true crossing realm expert. Brutal flash. Could it be that the true body of that senior is actually a savage beast? How is that possible? Savage beasts in human form don't have any cultivation base. How could this senior be a savage beast? Among the four heavens experts, there are occasionally old monsters who are interested in the brutal flash of the savage beasts. They would create a similar divine ability. This brutal flash should be a divine ability that this senior has comprehended and created. That makes sense. The power of this senior's brutal flash is obviously stronger than that of the savage beasts. It's obviously not an ordinary brutal flash. Discussions were everywhere in Mulan City. Among the group of savage beasts, their emotions began to flow. These savage beasts were fierce, cold and merciless. Even if they saw Shikong and thought-breaking old monster, they would still risk their lives to bite them. However, when they saw Ning Fan's brutal flash of tribulation sense, they understood what fear was for the first time in their lives. To them, the power of the tribulation blood in Ning Fan's body was like the heavenly might. The brutal flash displayed by Jieshue actually had the oppressive feeling of a superior being. A peak ghost profound realm turtle-shaped savage beast was too frightened that it forgot to dodge the attack of the brutal flash. When the brutal flash arrived, it was blasted into pieces of minced meat. A late ghost profound realm bear-shaped savage beast prostrated on the ground, trembling. It wanted to resist the attack of the brutal flash, but it couldn't move because it was too frightened. The eyes of the early true crossing realm black-scaled barbaric dragon no longer had a trace of ferocity. Instead, there was only fear. For the first time in its life, the thought of escaping rose in its mind. In its bloodline memory, a terrifying term emerged. That term was used to describe experts like Ning Fan. At this moment, it no longer dared to stay in this place. It no longer dared to say that it wouldn't leave Ning Fan's corpse intact. It only wanted to escape. The black-scaled barbaric dragon flapped its giant wings, turned around and fled. Unfortunately, it couldn't escape. The arrival of the brutal flash was its tribulation. This tribulation was like the heavens. There was no way for it to escape. As the black-red brutal flash shone on its body, its dragon scales that could withstand the attack of a late heavenly immortal treasure was completely broken at this moment. The dragon scales were broken. The dragon blood was dried up. The dragon bones were broken. The dragon life was extinguished. It only had time to let out a mournful wail. In the next moment, everything of it was buried in the brutal flash. Calamity. Emissary. That was the last memory that emerged in its bloodline, although it didn't understand what the calamity emissary meant. Tens of thousands of savage beasts were shrouded by the brutal flash, wailing incessantly. The sound of the beast's body exploding kept spreading far and wide on the empty ancient battlefield. When the brutal flash's aurora dissipated, there was no trace of the savage beasts left. There was only a rain of blood that filled the sky and stained the soil of the ancient battlefield. All the savage beasts were killed by Ning Fan's brutal flash. Hiss! The entire Milan city was in dead silence. None of the four void fragmentation experts had expected that Ning Fan was an old monster whose strength was comparable to a late true crossing realm expert. With just a single strike, he had annihilated tens of thousands of savage beasts. Lu Yan's beautiful eyes were filled with shock. This was her first time seeing such an unstoppable side of Ning Fan. That day in the Heavenly Moon Sect, she only saw Ning Fan killing a few small fries. Although she knew that Ning Fan had killed the profound Thunder Realm Lord, she didn't see it with her own eyes. Now that she saw Ning Fan's great ability to annihilate tens of thousands of savage beasts, she naturally felt a visual impact. Even the silver-haired little Lolita who was wholeheartedly munching on the holy fruit frowned, and said in surprise, "What kind of power is this? I've never seen it before. I've never seen it before." Looking at the ancient battlefield that could not be destroyed any further, Ning Fan was incomparably shocked. Is this the power of tribulation sense? A power that is comparable to the samsara force. If I had more tribulation blood in my body, the power of this brutal flash would be much greater. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a sealed jade box. Inside the jade box was the blood of the innate lightning spirit. This tribulation blood was 10 times more than what he had in his body. If he could refine it, perhaps this brutal flash can become a great divine ability that I can use to dominate the world in the future. Ning Fan's eyes flickered and kept the jade box. Now was not the right time to refine the tribulation blood. After the brutal flash, the bottleneck of the second transformation of Ning Fan's battle art had loosened. He only needed to go into seclusion once to break through the second transformation. Going into seclusion was not an urgent matter. The most important thing now was to figure out what the silver-haired little loli was trying to do. He took a step forward, disappearing from the ancient battlefield outside the city, and reappearing in the Milan city. Ning Fan jumped onto the roof of one of the houses, and walked towards the silver-haired little Lolita with a slight frown on his face. This little Lolita was not an enemy. Otherwise, Ning Fan would not show mercy to her. However, no matter what, this little loli was an existence comparable to the middle stage of shedding void. She had been pestering him like this, and it was not something that could be easily ignored. "Brother Food, you're amazing. Xian admires you so much. Seeing Ning Fan walking towards her, the silver-haired little Lolita jumped up and ran into Ning Fan's arms. Her speed was so fast that Ning Fan could not defend against it. Feeling the little face rubbing against his chest, Ning Fan felt a headache coming on. He sighed softly and said straightforwardly, "Are you so persistent in following me because of those thunder fragments?" Yes. The thunder fruits of the extreme lightning palace are not delicious. The fruits here are also not delicious. Brother Food's thunder fragments are the best. The moment Ning Fan mentioned the thunder fragments, the little Lolita's saliva immediately flowed all over his body. Of course, my thunder fragments are delicious. That was the thunder fragments left behind by the innate lightning spirit after its death. It was something that could only be found by luck but not by searching for it. Ning Fan looked at the silly little Lolita in his arms and his mind was racing. From the words of the silly little Lolita, Ning Fan understood that she came from the extreme lightning palace. After thinking about it, Ning Fan immediately understood that only a place like the extreme lightning palace could raise an intermediate shedding void Lolita. The evolution of your lightning body requires too much lightning body. My thunder fragments aren't enough for you to eat. And those thunder fragments are also useful to me. I can't give them all to you. Ning Fan said straightforwardly. Give them to me, give them to me. I really want to eat them. The little Lolita desperately rubbed against Ning Fan's chest, but Ning Fan was indifferent. Suddenly, the little Lolita thought of something and gave an evil smile. She lifted her little head and kissed Ning Fan's face. Then she smiled complacently. Little Ruru said that I can't kiss a man casually. If I kiss him, he will have to take responsibility for me. Hee, I kissed you so I am yours. You have to take responsibility for me. If you don't give me food, I will starve to death. You are not taking responsibility. Female scoundrel. These 3 words suddenly appeared in Ning Fan's mind. He didn't know where did this little Lolita learn all these dirty things. Kissing a man means that he will have to take responsibility for her. Why, I can only give you 1/10 of those thunder fragments at most. In the future, don't pester me anymore. Ning Fan almost had the urge to throw the little Lolita out of his arms, but after thinking for a while he resisted the urge and compromised. 1/10 of the thunder fragments would be considered as forming a good relationship with the extreme lightning palace. It's not enough. Xian wants to eat more. I want to eat all of them. The little Lolita shouted. Don't push your luck. Ning Fan's eyes turned sharp. Although he wouldn't be cold-blooded and heartless when facing a cultivator whom he had no enmity with, he wouldn't allow himself to be manipulated by the other party. Even if the other party was a little Lolita. But since the other party was old monster Shikong, it was needless to say that she was an old monster who was a few hundred times older than Ning Fan. Oh, you are so fierce. You are even fiercer than little Qianqian. The little Lolita cried loudly in Ning Fan's arms. Seeing Ning Fan's indifference, the little Lolita wiped her tears and said angrily, Brother Food, you have no sympathy. I am already your woman, but you don't care about me at all. Let me eat all of those thunder fragments. It's not a big deal. I can help you fight. I can protect you. I am very strong. The little Lolita jumped out of Ning Fan's arms and waved her little fist confidently. You protect me, in exchange for the thunder fragments? Can you do it? Ning Fan's eyes moved slightly. This suggestion seemed to be not bad. If he were to head to the other barbarian regions for cultivation in the future, Ning Fan would definitely need someone to protect him during his seclusion. He couldn't count on Lu Yan. The Shikong puppet was a puppet of desire. It could only be controlled by Ning Fan personally in order to fight. If he had this little girl who was comparable to a mid-Shikong puppet to look after him, Ning Fan could go into seclusion without worry. Humph. Don't look down on me. I am really strong. Let me tell you. A few years ago, I even killed a red-haired great devil king. He was very strong. What was his name again? That's right, he was called Big Mushroom. She accidentally remembered Sun Luo's name wrongly. Alright, I got it. You killed a big mushroom. You are very strong. Ning Fan was slightly speechless. He didn't know that there was a red-haired great devil king called Big Mushroom in Eastern Heaven. Humph. You don't believe me. I am really strong. I had a dream yesterday. I dreamt that I have an elder sister called Little Momo. She has a divine brush. Whoever she writes on will die. She can write you to death with just one stroke. The little girl said angrily. Yes, you have an elder sister who is very strong. She can write me to death with just one stroke. Ning Fan was speechless. Wah. Just let me eat it, my good brother. It was useless to say anything. The little girl sat on the ground and acted shamelessly. Ning Fan ignored the little girl's cries. In his heart, he was considering if he should let the little girl eat all the thunder fragments. His original intention was to condense the fierce elemental crystal with the thunder fragments to cultivate the yin-yang lightning technique. However, judging from the progress of the yin-yang lightning technique, the thunder fragments were far from enough for the cultivation of the yin-yang lightning technique. It wasn't impossible to let the little girl eat it. If you promise to let me eat the thunder fragments, I will sleep with you. The little girl finally threw away all her principles. Ning Fan's forehead was full of black lines. He didn't think that this little girl with the body of 6 or 7 years old was qualified to sleep with him. Forget it. You don't have to sleep with me. I can give you the thunder fragments, but you have to stay by my side temporarily. When necessary, you have to protect me. If you promise, I can give you 1/10 of the thunder fragments now. After you finish eating them, I will give you some more. Promise. I promise. The shameless little girl's saliva flowed out, and she agreed decisively. Take it and follow me. Ning Fan pointed his finger and immediately extracted 1/10 of the thunder force. He sealed it into a jade box and gave it to the little girl. The little girl took the jade box and was so happy that she almost became drunk. She followed Ning Fan and walked towards Lu Yan and the others. The entire Mulan city was silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Ning Fan. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Senior, who is this little girl? She is quite cute. Lu Yan looked at the silver-haired little girl curiously. She will follow us in the future. You can just call her Xian Xian. That seems to be her name. Ning Fan answered indifferently. How do you know my name is Xian Xian? The little girl was startled. You've said it a few times before. Ning Fan's face was filled with black lines. He realized that this little girl was a little muddle-headed, a little crazy, a little shameless and a little out of her mind. The little girl was given to Lu Yan to take care of by Ning Fan. After the beast tide subsided, he went into seclusion again. This time, his seclusion lasted for a total of 4 months. During these 4 months, Ning Fan not only refined the tribulation blood of the innate lightning spirit, but also completely mastered the second transformation of his battle arts. 4 months later, Ning Fan and the others left Mulan City and headed towards the unconquered barbarian regions. The few unconquered barbarian regions near the North Star barbarian region did not have particularly strong battle intent. The further they flew towards the north, the stronger the battle intent in the air. In the sky above a barbarian region that was filled with ancient forests, Ning Fan kept his traveling light and descended with Lu Yan and the little girl. The intensity of the battle intent in this ancient forest could be ranked among the top 3 in the entire wild ancient region. It was one of the main battlefields of countless realm wars. They should be able to condense mid-grade fierce elemental crystals here. Roar. The moment Ning Fan and the others stepped into the ancient forest, the roars of tens of beasts with powerful auras resounded from the depths of the forest. The owners of these roars were all wild beasts above the Dujin realm. The moment Ning Fan and the others stepped into the forest, they already had killing intent towards them. Wild beasts had always been domineering. Anyone who trespasses their territory would be killed without mercy. Ning Fan frowned slightly. Just as he was about to attack, the little girl beside him volunteered and stepped forward. Big brother, go and cultivate these ferocious beasts. Leave them to Xian Xian. Before her voice faded away, the little girl had already turned into lightning with a swoosh and dashed into the depths of the ancient forest. Immediately, the miserable cries of wild beasts could be heard from all directions. Only then did Ning Fan realize that when the little girl became serious, her battle awareness was unusually strong in a daze. Ning Fan seemed to have seen such a valiant figure before, but he could not recall it. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.